check it twice. Start your car, safely make your way to your favorite Super Value or Quality Supermarkets location, and then march on in for great specials like green cabbage, 49 cents per pound. Kellogg's Tri-Fund cereals, the 52-ounce box, $10.99. Libby's whole kernel corn or sliced beets, the 15-ounce can, $1.19. Crystal Bleach, the gallon bottle, 2 for $5. Chicken drumsticks, 99 cents per pound. The savings never stop at Super Value and Quality Supermarkets.
I was thinking that maybe asking Diagala for all of their machine was probably a little too much, eh?
Well, I thought so.
Yeah, but you was gonna be right there present early if he'd say, yeah, eh? Well, anyhow, what you think about this? Having control of the TV remote.
Did you say ask him for control of the TV remote?
I did. You stay right there with your home. You can be the same one making noise for them people watching HGTV when Days of Our Lives reruns on Channel 9000.
That's true.
Just think, if we have control of the remote, we could watch anything we want to watch. And if we have reserved seating, we could watch it in comfort.
Reserve seating?
That's something else I want to ask him about.
You can't reserve no seat in them Superwash.
Well, I was thinking about them seats. I was thinking about lazy boys.
Now you're talking, because if we is the Superwash queens, we need to be on our throne.
Hold on. I don't think nobody in Superwash wants to see you on your throne.
Superwash, they wash your presses and cleans you 24/7.
Do you feel trapped and unable to move because of debt? Are you trying to meet your monthly obligations but still falling behind? Then what you need is a fresh start. BOB's Fresh Start Debt Consolidation Loan will combine your existing debts into one easy monthly payment, restoring your financial freedom and getting you back on track with a built-in savings plan. Talk to us today about your BOB Fresh Start Debt Consolidation Loan. BOB, your bank of solutions.
Peace 107.5 FM, the air of success.
We are in the 5 o'clock hour, and if it's 5 o'clock, it's hard copy. Hard copy is a presentation of the McKinney Media Group, copyrights 2017. All rights are reserved. The views, statements, and opinions of guests expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the views of the host, sponsors, or operators of this radio station. No part of this program may be copied or reproduced in full or in part without the express written consent of the producers, the McKinney Media Group. This is Hard Copy on the McKinney Broadcasting Radio Network. Hard Copy seeks to lay out the facts in simple fashion for the inclusion of all Bahamians and Bahamians at heart. The focus every day to move forthright in our manner to build a progressive and developing country, and our desire is for a Bahamas with a competent, skillful, and productive workforce. We want a country that can feed and sustain itself. We want a country with a brilliant visionary action plan that's ready to embrace a future of hope and prosperity. We encourage like-minded Bahamians to participate with intelligent and honest contributions. After all, my friends, we have a country to build. We've got jobs and industry to create, a people to inspire and empower. Generations of born and unborn Bahamians, we the people must protect and plan for. And if not you, then who? And if not now, then when? Today on Hard Copy, we talk about a number of things here. First and foremost, that of BTC. I'm expecting Leon Williams to pop in here this afternoon as we talk about some business and some things that you know is a go for the country. When we come back, this is Hard Copy.
If it moves, chances are Advantage Insurance can insure it. We offer a variety of coverage options for cars, SUVs, trucks, scooters, boats, and more. Our comprehensive auto insurance policy covers loss or damage due to collision, theft, fire, flood, or hurricane. Third-party coverage is also available. Call Advantage Insurance at 356-0285 or visit us on Collins Avenue today. Advantage Insurance, celebrating 20 years.
Mommy, what does comprehensive mean?
It's when you include everything, not just some things. Why?
I'm reading it on your Facebook page. Your friend Kalina has comprehensive health coverage.
Let me see that. Comprehensive health coverage that includes primary and specialist care, hospitalization, surgical services, overseas care, and rehabilitative services.
So they didn't leave anything out?
They sure didn't. Kalina really is my friend. Talk to Kalina about comprehensive health coverage that won't leave you exposed. Visit Kalina.com or find us on Facebook.
At Ron's Electric Motors, they repair and rewind all major brands of electric motors, including water pumps, generators, and the generator's back end, welding machines, electric lifts, air compressors, battery chargers, and more. They're equipped to handle up to 850 kilowatts and rewind up to 450 horsepower motors. They're conveniently located on the corner of Wolf and Clarence Roads and are open weekdays 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays till noon. They offer 24 hours emergency assistance. You can reach them on 242-356-0249.
There's no other talk show like the show. If it's 5 o'clock, it's Hard Copy. Single-handedly, I feel you really brought the F&M government to where they are now. Opposition.
Be sure to stay cool all year round, especially when those hot summer months roll in. Keep cool with Cool Tech. Located Tonic Williams Darling Highway, Cool Tech is your affordable #1 air conditioning center. They install and service everything they sell. That means prompt, reliable service 24/7. Cool Tech, the only way to stay cool with guarantee. Call Cool Tech now at 341-5665.
All around the Bahamas, people are switching.
I switched.
They're switching their high-interest loans and credit cards to Commonwealth Bank and saving with a lower payment.
We switched.
Now it's your turn. Get a new lower rate and save with zero payment for 60 days. Plus, enter to win the Switch and Win $5,000 giveaway.
Now I pay less every month.
Everyone can. Visit us today and switch to a lower rate. Commonwealth Bank, your leader in personal banking services.
Based on the premise of anything you can do, we can do better in the Bahamas. The Bahamian Brewery is 100% Bahamian owned and operated. Proud Bahamians making good traditional brews in Grand Bahama, then bottling and shipping throughout our islands. Our thanks to you, Bahamas, for supporting our family of beers and beverages. Sands Light, High Rock, Strong Back, Bush Crack, Sands Pink Rattler, and Triple B. Brewed and bottled here and consumed right here in our Bahamas. Now that's truly Bahamian. The Bahamian Brewery encourages all of its fans to drink in moderation.
Motown. It's all about the sound and that infectious beat. A sound that penetrates our hearts and takes us back to a time when music was life and life was music. The magic of Motown comes to Nirvana, Nassau, Bahamas on Friday, March 24th. Don't miss this live, energetic show presented by the Vice Versa Band. Songs that will lift you out of your seat and transport you into musical history. Don't miss the magic. That's Friday, March 24th at Nirvana at 7 p.m. Covers $25. For reservations, call 805-5977. That's 805-5977.
Steve McKinney, live. Drive Time Talk.
That's one of the nice things about the Bahamas. Everybody's got an opinion and is free to express it.
In regard to the economy, and you talk about the lousy economy, yes, the economy worldwide is not doing that well, but we also have a hopeful people who are looking with great expectation for many things to happen in this country for them. The government is fully aware of the problem. We have a mandate from our Prime Minister to do as best we can for and on behalf of the Bahamian people, and every minister is going to do that now.
The Big Show.
It is Tuesday, the 21st day of the month of March 2017. As you battle the congested city streets and drive home traffic, we have cloudy skies and 34 degrees in the nation's capital. Overnight low tonight, 66. Thank you so much for joining us on the drive home. I'm Steve McKinney, and this is Hard Copy. We're being brought to you today by the Beauty Shack, the big tent sale this weekend. The magic of Motown is going to be down there at Nirvana Beach. You want to make plans to be there. Life at Hills, Bahamas Public Parks and Beaches Authority, Mount Tabor Inspiration, Ministry of Tourism, Echo Water, Hadji's Your Everything Store, Commonwealth Bank, the new debit card, Rocky Farms Nursery, Cool Tech, the Air Can Do experts on Tonique Williams Darling Highway, Bahamian Brewery and Beverages, Galena Insurance for comprehensive coverage, Super Wash, open 24/7, the Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions. We're also brought to you today by Super Value, the All Bahamian Supermarkets, Advantage Insurance and Brokers, 61 Collins Avenue, Ron's Electric Motors, Clarge and Wolf Road, Executive Printers, they do printing right. They're located Jerome Avenue, McKinney Media Group for the best results in advertisements, and Bahamas Foot and Ankle on Blake Road. Call us today on Hard Copy, 325-0235 or 6, 325-0242 or 43, 325-0252 or 53. For WhatsApp and texting today, 376-9234. You can follow us on the World Wide Web at peace1075.com, cable top box 970, TuneIn Radio, iPad, iPhone, any Android, you'll get us. Follow us too on Facebook, Hard Copy 242, and of course on Twitter, Hard Copy Bahamas. Did I tell you that you can also go to the Hard Copy YouTube channel and see us live if you so wish? That's how we're doing it today. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll tell you, friends, that we were expecting here in this hour the CEO of BTC, but of course, Leon Williams, I don't see him, so I'm going to tell you that what we are doing is taking a look at some other areas of interest today, and I want to really open my telephone lines for you today. I want to open these lines for you so that you can have your say on any number of things. Now, let me just put you on page. A lot of people are ticked off because the nation's chief executive, Prime Minister Christie, continues to bombard and the man by the name of Hubert Minnis continues to attack him, that kind of a thing. Apparently, a lot of people are turned off by this because they figure that these attacks is not a good strategy by Christie. And the attacks are leading people now to take another look at Minnis and also see some good in Minnis. In other words, it's prompting sympathy. It's prompting empathy as far as Minnis is concerned, and this is working counter to what Christie obviously had planned for it to work for on his behalf, that talking bad about a fella and making him seem incompetent and not able to govern will be just the right trick to get them in the spotlight. But the trouble is the PLP has been in such a position in recent times that because of their track record, we're only looking at this particular season, friends. So I want you to be as fair as possible on this discussion today as we invite you to call us and tell us your real 2 cents on this particular matter, because it is quite interesting. Why is it quite interesting? Because on one hand, governments are continuous. So whatever happens, the government that gets in, whether it's the PLP or the FNM, if they're the two who people decide that they're going to elect, if whoever gets inside, the government continues. So you don't want to start something with mudslinging to the point where it lasts even after the elections into the governance of the next administration. And what they have done, what the PLP have done effectively, just to get mud thrown on Minnis, they have said that he is incompetent. He can't do this, he can't do that. The country will be in problems if he's the one in charge. And of course, everybody's listening to that. All of the people who are watching this country with interest because of investments and the rest of it, they too are listening to that with great interest, and they are taking notes. And so we've got to be careful how we're doing it. And that's one of the reasons why everyone, including Bishop Simeon Hall, has said to those who are in the politics game this time around, don't be mudslinging like that. Don't be saying things that we can back up. And at the end of the day, it sticks and it lasts into another government, another administration. That's just one of the things. The other thing is that, everybody's trying to win. So some people will say anything just to win. And we've seen some of those individuals already saying and doing anything to get ahead in this game. But if you look at the teams or the many groupings and their track record, it is not hard to figure out what you, the electorate, should be really looking at, looking forward to, and expecting, because they're supposed to, by this time, have already had to put out their manifestos or their covenant, whatever it is. The Free National Movement has already done so. They've said, these are our plans, what we have in the manifesto, and these are some of the things that we hope to accomplish. In other words, sticking with issues is of paramount concern. The issues that we have before us are many, a myriad of issues that we still can't even put our hands around, our heads around. We can't understand why so many things have happened in this 4.5 years. One of them, chief among them, is this whole bit about the SEAL deal at Baha. That is still a very ugly situation. Another is that the possibility of other people being in our country under this thing of citizenship, because we don't know we are in a position to trust our government on that matter. That's a real issue. The other thing really is crime. It's perhaps the biggest issue. And then there's immigration. It's a big issue. And of course, there's the economy, which, we are ailing so badly that, it seems as if we need to be resuscitated. We are on life support when it comes to the economy. Things are really bad. And I told you a couple of weeks ago that things are bad. They're really bad. And some people are saying, well, Steve, I don't know if things are really bad, but things are very, very bad. There are people who can't pay their bills. There are people who are, looking for something to eat, all kind of places that, God forbid, if they go there, they may, get some dreaded disease. That's how serious the thing is. We know this. And then, of course, there's no accountability, no transparency on so many fronts. And that's why I'm saying today, if you, the Bahamian people, are happy with the lot that we now have and the kind of focus that Christie and those have decided to go with, and that is mudslinging and not the issues, you tell me. And you tell me why you think it's not the right approach. I've already told you what I thought about many of the things that are happening here today, and that is that governments that continues, we have got to make sure that we can hold the country together. Christie seems to be suggesting that only he could run the country at this particular point. Anybody else will be fooling around. Do you believe that? That only Christie can run the country right now? Please call me and tell me so I can just relax myself and know that it is Christie who I must go and make sure he gets back in. I mean, that's how serious this is now, because when you look at what is happening with Minnis and the gaffes that he's made some mistakes. He's made some things that don't really sound good, don't really look good, but I believe that he's quickly corrected those things because they may have just been oversights. They're nothing to really call home about and say, boy, we're in trouble. There's a good showdown that's happening here. And there may even be a whole group of independent members who may get into the mix and make a big difference. But it is a political season. Nobody has really rung the proverbial political bell yet as a symbol that we are in the season, but we are in the season. You must believe that. And that's why the question is right now before you, the Bahamian people. What say you on the stylings of the political campaign thus far? The campaign is underway, but there's mudslinging. There's one who's been saying that he just is incompetent, so forth and so on. And there, on the other hand, the one who had, in fact, the other day just done some obscene signage to the Bahamian people, he is the one who's perpetrating this thing that his opponent is just not ready as ignorant and is unfit and so forth and so on. What do you make of it, friends? I want to talk about it pointedly today, and I want to get your involvement on it because I believe that you know exactly what it is that you want. You know what you want, and you know what you expect from a government. Have we been satisfied with the performance of this particular lot thus far? I mean, from the time they came in 2012 to this present moment of the 21st day in the month of March 2017, can you say that you have been impressed? Now, for those of you who will tell me that there's no question that they should be returned to office, you may want to list for me some of the accomplishments of the group, the governing party right now, that you believe has been so impactful to the country that they deserve to go back this time around and that we can't take any chances with nobody else. Is that okay? I want to put that on the table. So I'm listening for your phone calls at 325-0235 or 6, 325-0242 or 43, 325-0252 or 53, or you can also send me a text or WhatsApp at 376-9234. So, again, what I'm looking for today on the show, Hard Copy, you the people, you're now voicing your views, and you want to voice it loud and clear for all to hear and see. and that is this: the present state of affairs with how the governing party is campaigning with regards to Minnis, and if the campaign should really be, not mudslinging, but should really be about issues, the issues, and what are those issues that you believe the governing party should in fact be talking about in a substantive way that can edify you, that can educate you and make you understand once and for all that you know where the VAT money gone, that you know what is going to happen in this economy, that you know how we're going to get ourselves out of this bad situation of being downgraded to junk-born status, and such issues, that you want to know more about the dump fire and what's going to happen about it, and that there's something that you can bite into when it comes to the education of your children. These are some of the issues that the Free National Movement has put on the table, and I don't know if they're gaining traction. So in a way, I'm doing a kind of study today too, to see if in fact you all are issue-oriented, or if you are into just the mudslinging and the name-calling and the slackness of propaganda that is now pervasive in the atmosphere. So give me a call, 325-0235 or 6, 325-024-2 or 43, and 325-0252 or 53. And if you want to, at the end of it, you can also tell me, when you make your statements, you can also tell me who you think will win and what is the margin. Do you follow? So I want to get full participation from you today. This is our show. This is the one where we, the people, get to talk and say exactly what we feel like saying today, respectfully, of course, and responsibly, and to really say what we think about the political situation in our country right now, as people seem to be getting out of their heads. Some people seem to have been losing their head in certain times, and some people have been making some crazy statements that provokes crazy talk. Let's talk today. 325-0235 or 6. Let's go straight to the telephone lines and say good afternoon to the first caller here. How you doing today? Yes, I'm listening to you. Good afternoon. Yes, I can hear you. What are you saying?
You got to actually say that they have spent $3 billion, and they have to show what they have done for $3 billion. You say that.
You want to explain? Well, you say it for me. You tell me what to say. You're saying that I haven't said that. I don't know what you're talking about. You say it to me.
No, you're saying actually that we want to know if we should return the President Lott. But you say this President Lott has spent $3 billion in the last 5 years, and actually we don't really see what they do with it. So we got to find out what they've done with the $3 billion.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You believe that they've spent $3 billion, $3 million, or $3 billion.
Billion, not million, billion.
$3 billion, and you don't know what they've done with it. Now, this $3 billion that you're talking about, what is that $3 billion? What is it? What is it all about? The $3 billion.
$2 billion borrowed and $1 billion of the VAT.
Okay, so that's what you're talking about. The $1 billion from VAT and the $2 billion that they borrowed, a total of $3 billion in the last 4.5 years. Right. You're saying you can't feel nothing or touch anything from it.
That's what I thought about.
That's what you're saying. So what does that tell you? I mean, what does that mean to you? You've not been able to get any answers. What do you feel? How do you feel about not being able to get any answers? Because you're saying to me, you can't feel anything, and they have not said anything to you as to how they could account for this kind of money, right? Are you there? Hard copy, how are you?
Good afternoon, Mr. McKinney. How you doing?
Peace and love. I'm in good shape.
Mama friend, you know I've been calling you for the past probably 2 years and telling you that things are really unstable here on the island.
This is in Grand Bahama?
Grandmama, I always told you that I think that our friend the West was in problems. I think I can now definitely tell you that I think the Free National Movement will sweep every seat in Grand Bahama.
Really? In Grand Bahama. I've been hearing that they will take 5 seats down there. Is that 5 seats down there now?
There's 5 seats, but I think they're going to sweep the whole northern Bahamas, including North Anderson, the Berry Island.
Yeah.
Nabucco, and the 5 in Freeport.
I hear that.
Bahama.
Now, that's easily said than done. I mean, this is politics. This is the big one. This is the big dance. And a lot of people are very, very concern, and some people have not made up their minds yet. And certainly, we haven't seen the full throttle of the election campaign yet, because there are some people who, in fact, got plenty of money to spend, and that can change plenty of people's mind. But on an issue point of view, do you think that issues have been coming to the forefront from the opposition force, the party, the FNM, because people don't seem to be talking too much about these issues in a way that can really make it stick and cost the PLP to have to be accountable and answer and transparent?
Yes, sir, because Mr. McKinney, you look at it, we're living the reality here. After the hurricane, especially the Matthew, and they said that they spent $100 million on relief and restoration, and you can't see, feel, or touch anything restoring on the island. There has to be, see, we're living a reality here, Mr. McKinney. It is very real.
So you live on Grand Bahama, and I'm told that people have been living in abandoned homes and abandoned stores and stuff like that. Is it really so, or is that just propaganda?
Mr. McKinney, it's really bad. To live in a home that has no water and light now is like a luxury in Grand Bahama.
And so you feel as if the people in the North will do something about it by getting rid of the government?
Oh, yes. They massively, in mass numbers, they're going to get rid of this current administration. There's no accountability, no transparency, and it comes down at the end of the day, like they do not care for the Bahamian people.
So what about Davil? Davil has been your minister of Grand Bahama. He's been saying all kinds of things are happening in Grand Bahama. I mean, if we were to believe that, that perhaps is propaganda as well. But if we are to believe that, we'll believe that it is not all that bad, even though we understand from good sources that things are terrible down there. But if you were to listen to Davil and the rest of them in the Progressive Liberal Party, it seems as if the FNM or whoever is just kind of like bringing up a lot of propaganda stuff that's not real.
Mr. That is just a part of their excuse. They're telling people in other parts of the Bahamas that, listen here, we could not get you because we're handling the people in Grand Bahama.
I see.
And that is the furthest lie from the truth.
I see.
They have neglected us. They don't care about us. As a matter of fact, after they won the 2012 general election, they even came back to Grand Bahama to give a thank you rally.
They didn't.
They did not.
So you all felt long time slighted that that this
They had it coming from May 8th, 2012.
You think that Christie's going to call an election pretty soon, within the next 6 weeks?
I don't think that the PLP has found their footing yet on how to actually attack this election cycle, because I think the more they attack Menace, it seems like the more people kind of look into him and see that he is probably the best of the lot that we have right now.
I see. So that's how you figure the parameters across the board, that the Menace is looking good. Menace apparently is looking better, even though he's been attacked. He's gotten a lot of the spotlight on him. So he's now kind of like moved up front and seemed to have the momentum, especially going to the Grand Bahama last weekend.
Not only that, Mr. McKinney, let me tell you something as well. So when you look like social media, it seems that the FNM is running an off-the-chain
I see.
social media campaign.
I see.
You get at least about 5 or 6 memes, something that the government has done wrong. So they have a very, very, very good social media game going on. I don't know what's advising them, but they're doing some things right.
So the social media will be perhaps that will figure prominently in this election, you think?
I think so, Mr. McKinney.
I appreciate it. So if you were to give us a margin now as far as PLP seats and FNM seats, if they're the two parties that you're looking at, what would you say? They're 39 seats.
You only need one vote to win, Mr. McKinney.
Yep, but I mean, what are you looking at as far as the spread is concerned?
Okay, I would say about the FNM will win a margin between 27 and 29 seats.
I see. Okay. All right. I appreciate your call. Wonderful. Thank you. Out of Grand Bahama. So Grand Bahama is chiming in because Grand Bahama is feeling pretty lonely these days. Nothing is happening for them, and nobody can tell them anything substantive that will make them feel better, that things are going to get better in Freeport and in Grand Bahama. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, how are you? Okay, stay on the line, please. Hard copy, how are you?
Hey, good evening, Steve. How you doing, man?
Peace and love, all is well.
Steve, you say this today when we can talk some stuff, right, but be respectful, right? I'm going to say something here now, but I'll have you baffled. The last general election was stolen, Steve.
Well, I'm talking about this general election. Let's stick with this one. Yeah, you're saying the last general election was stolen?
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, how do you substantiate that?
fact that some stuff went down. Some stuff went down, and so there are some people that were doing some non-stuff.
I see. All right. Well, then forget about that.
Yeah,
Let's look at
that's
this.
That's a preview to what your
Yeah.
next question is going to be to me.
No, I asked you the question already. What say you as far as the this whole campaign that's going on now? The PLP seems to be throwing a lot of mud on Minnis and the other members of the FNM, and I'm asking if, in fact, you think that's the right approach to this whole thing, and if we should be talking about real issues that the Bahamian people have a right to know about, and that how are we going to get those issues to come to the fore?
If the parties that are vying for government need to up the ante on their campaign, and as far as the PLP and what they're doing and slinging dirt and rock, that's all they can do. If the PLP has nothing to campaign on, the PLP is not having any rallies because nobody into them. They can't set up for no rallies. Nothing.
Man, they haven't rallies. Like they had a rally the other night down at SC McPherson. They had a rally in somewhere else just the other night. I mean, they're having rallies, but what are you saying? The rallies are not getting the people, or the rallies are
traction they're expecting, Steve?
they're not getting the traction.
They're not getting the traction.
Why
they're
do you
expecting.
suppose they're not getting the traction? I mean, they're the governing party. They should be way up front with the traction. They should be in the driver's seat because really they're the governing party. I mean, never have we seen governing parties this early in the game falling behind, but it seems as if right now one can't really be sure as to where the momentum is as far as the Progressive Liberal Party is concerned. That's why I'm asking you, what do you mean that they're not getting any traction? What does that mean?
All right, they normally have the big rallies and all everybody have the flags on the cars and you see any banners and posters.
Well, I can tell you, they don't have any paraphernalia yet. I made this statement last week on the show that it appears that the Progressive Liberal Party is late in coming out of the gate. And I said that it seems as if the Free National Movement has one edge on them, and that is that they have paraphernalia, and they're doing things. They're campaigning, they're moving around on the islands. And I said at the time, this was Friday, I think it was, or Thursday, I said at the time that it appears to me that, this was Wednesday, it appears to me that they haven't gotten their paraphernalia. Maybe the money ain't come yet. And they have not been able to showcase their posters and all that kind of stuff that they're known for. In the 2012 election, let me tell you, the PLP had all of their stuff on the ground the previous year. They were there on the ground in a warehouse the previous year. This time around, they seem to be late. Either they don't have the money or they don't want to appear to be spending this money that everybody's saying is the VAT money. So they have taken a back seat. Their paraphernalia is not even out yet. They've got some posters that were around from the last election, but the real posters for this time around are not really out yet. And so that's one of the reasons why you can, I suppose, see the flags and the rest of it and all that kind of stuff. Not making excuses, just telling you some of the facts.
Steve, you know what they're doing too? They're taking care of their baseline. They're really taking care of their baseline, Steve, because trust me, these people are going to vote their motion and they can take their money, take their contracts, and their concern is, are these people are going to do us like how they do the referendum for the number? Are they going to do us like how they do the referendum?
Yeah, maybe that's their fear. Maybe. I don't know. That's all conjecture. If you had to give a spread as to what your guess...
You had Leslie Miller on edge the other day when Leslie Miller is afraid. Leslie Miller is not the only person that's afraid. Leslie said the Prime Minister seat 21 seats, but what he did not say was 2 and 1 is 3. That's the 3 seats. Leslie Miller said he sees 23 seats. What he did not explain to you was 2 and 3 is 5. If they get 2 or 5 seats, that will be the most. If
I understand. Okay, I appreciate it. Thanks for your call. Okay, 325-023516. It's so simple. I'm only trying to make the comparison as I do a scientific study right now, live on radio. The point is this. I will be able to tell at the end of the day if people in the Bahamas are about issues or if they're about mudslinging, propaganda, and innuendo. Because why? That's what Christie and them have been doing in recent times. All of them. Leslie Miller, Shane Gibson, everybody has been throwing some sling and some mud at Minnis and saying you got to get him out of there and try to work him over and make him look bad. That's what they've been doing. Now, I don't know if people like that brand of politics because it's uncharacteristic of Christie. It's just not his style. Christie's a scholarly fellow who wants to showboat and show that, he's got it all together. He is not the kind of fellow who concentrates on that kind of slinging. And in fact, the last few elections, what he had with Ingram, he dare not have gone down that road of trying to throw mud. And that's why I'm saying to you, pay attention. There's a reason for why I'm asking you this, because this will be the beginning of a long goodbye, or this will be the beginning of a different paradigm shift, politically speaking, in this country as to what the Bahamian electorate expects. It's either mudslinging, talking down, and messing up, or it's about issues that you need to put their feet to the fire on the issues, all of the issues. The Free National Movement has set a good example. They have been speaking to the issues. You can see that. But are those issues resonating with the Bahamian people, the electorate? Or do you believe that they must change their game to fit the game of the PLP, that is mudslinging and talking bad and threatening, that kind of a thing? A bullish kind of a, thuggish kind of a campaign. Talk to me now, 325-023546. Hard copy, how are you?
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, sir.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I would just like to say, reiterate what you said earlier. Any person, when you speak to them and reference to this mudslinging and the PLP is throwing, it's like, okay, you doing this. This election should be about the issues. You should be touting your fair. That's okay. We did this. We had Bamsi. We had Bahama. We had GS Project over here. You have nothing to fall back on after 5 years. So your only option or your only result is now to try to make the other person look bad because you have nothing positive to bring to the Bahamian people. The PLP are talkers. If they had anything positive to say that the people might gravitate towards,
I see.
My friend, we would have already been hearing that because there's nothing. Because they have a lot of unanswered questions that we still want answered. Where the VAT money go? Do we have a contract signed with Bahama? How many citizenships were granted last term and this term? Mr. McKinney, and you alluded to it earlier in your statement. Every time mudslinging starts in politics, when you facing a new opponent for the first time, you get beat. Hubert, Lyndon Pinton had a lot of mudslinging against Hubert Ingram in 1992. They lost landslide.
That's a very good observation.
Hubert Ingram had a lot of mudslinging against Perry Christie, the same government in 2012. They lost by
so mudslinging ain't got no place in this.
History has any indication, this will tell you that you're doing this, you're looking for big loss because you're not rooted. You're not grounded in anything because you have no leg to stand on.
I see. That's a good observation. The two things that you spoke to, a good observation. But at the end of the day now, since we are where we are in this campaign thus far, what do you see as far as the numbers are concerned? That's what I'm interested in as well. Do you believe that the PLP, based on their record and the achievements that they have made so far, that they will be returned to office, and by what numbers?
Mr. McKinney, based on their record, the misery index, the only positive numbers they have is the misery index. It's off the chart.
Stop it. The misery index.
I had Mr. Miller on the show, and I heard Georgie Capon talking. There's 22, 23 seats.
Yeah.
They can, if they get.
Leslie says 23.
Five or more, they sitting good.
Georgie says the most the F&M will get is 5 seats, so the rest he was given to the PLP. Leslie Miller says he gives them 23 seats, and I cracked him a joke by saying to him that if he has counted himself and his good buddy, and I said, your good buddies, you know who? There are two of them who, in fact, when the PLP, as I understand it, was looking down their listing, and they said, these are the people who will win for the PLP. This is Christine and the PLP. They said, we count 21. So when Leslie told me 23, I said to him, well, obviously, that's 2 more than than Christie them counted. So that was him, and I suppose Brave Davis, his buddy. And we laughed about it. But he is saying 23. Now, others are saying it's the opposite way around for the Free National Movement. But that's just what political pundits are saying. I want to talk with people who tune in daily to talk radio, know the issues like you were able to recount all the issues just now, and deal with this matter from an issue-oriented point of view. If you went by the issues, what do you think would happen? Would the issues cause you to have the kind of results that you saying that they may win 5 seats?
Yes, sir.
The governing party. Okay.
Yes,
Fair
sir.
enough.
If you go solely on the issues, and we had a myriad of issues in the last 5 years, there's no way under God's great heaven, the PLP would be returned back in office.
I got you. I appreciate your call. I got to take some more calls. Thank you very much for your participation. Hard copy. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. McKinney.
Yes, sir. I'm listening.
Yeah, reconciler here, and good evening to the Greater Bahamas. Mr. McKinney, the PLP is operating on 2 Ds today: deflection and distraction. The deflection is to deflect from the positive vibe, so to speak, that the FNM is receiving from the greater public. And by the way, this race shall be between 2 parties: the PLP, which is the government, the temporary government now, and the FNM, which is the incoming government, in my view. And I would say, Mr. McKinney, the distraction is to distract from their bad, poor governance in the past 5 years, to distract from the issues, the crime, the fiscal state of our economy, to distract from the what money we had gone, to distract from the additional $1 billion, which is 1,000 million that they also borrowed, and they have nothing to show, and to distract from crime and all these negative stuff and illegal immigration. So this what the PLP is doing. They are running scared. When a man is running scared, all he could do is attack, to distract and to deflect from his inefficiencies and his shortcomings. And I would say, Brother McKinney, that the FNM will win the government at least by a 2/3 majority.
Wow.
And I'm being kind to the PLP. I think it's going to be more than that. But the FNM is going to win at least by a landslide in the upcoming election. And I'm not saying that because that the FNM is the best, They have their shortcomings, but they are doing some great things to resonate with the Bahamian population at this time. Now, see, the Bahamian people are tired. And you must take note, according to June 7 last year, of the last referendum. The people didn't cut no fuss. They were sent into what the PLP was saying and all the there again deflection and distraction. All right? What they did, that they resolved in their mind that they was going to vote against it.
Understood.
And they voted against it 4 times. No, none of the stuff that the PLP, those issues, got any kind of headway, made any headway. So that's the same thing that is going to happen in this upcoming journey. And by the way, I picked up my voter's card yesterday. I registered.
You're ready now. You're ready now.
Up today. And I encourage them who didn't vote, who didn't register, even at 11 hours to register. And those that did, their cards, they are available. Go and collect them. Don't let it sleep. Go and collect them. Have a good day, Brother McKinney.
I appreciate your call. So this is what we're looking at now. Mudslinging is not getting this group so far anywhere, the PLP. The mudslinging that they've done and the kind of name calling and the kind of downplay and that kind of stuff, that has not been a good thing at all for the PLP, because you can hear the people responding to it. The people seem to be a little bit put off by it. One of the things that I've been telling you is that Christie is not the kind of person, that's not his character to do that kind of stuff, but he's doing something that's out of character, which tells me that there's something deeper and greater that's happening here in the politics of it all, because Christie seemed to be off his game, and he's off his game, and that is not a good thing. The other day when he flipped that bird that nobody wants to talk about, that is not a part of his character. We know that. We've said that. But it happened, right? So these perhaps is things that we are seeing, signs that we are seeing now, signs and symbols of things to come, because the man is off his game. Until he gets back on his game and takes this campaign to a high level of class, I believe that he's going to be off his game for a long time. Now, he could very well be off his game because of other characters in this skit, Jerome Fitzgerald and others who are, in fact, encouraging the kind of stuff that he's been saying. Jerome Fitzgerald was over at the University of the Bahamas the other night at a little debate of sorts, and he was basically saying that minutes could never be in a position to run a country. I mean, the kind of nastiness that they've already started does not bring about the kind of brotherly love, even in what could be a wonderful campaign of just strength. If you're better, then you'd win. If you're not better, then you'd lose. But they have gone beyond the limit, and they're deciding that they're going to take a low down, dirty game that they're going to play. Now, I'm trying to prevent that from happening. That's why I'm talking about it. I want them to hear the Bahamian public say that they don't appreciate it in your own ways, in your own words. Because right now, based upon what I've gotten so far, I can tell you this issue is about issues, this campaign. The people who have called me so far have already said to me, this is the issue, this is the issue, this is it. We want to know about the background. We want to know about immigration. Now, how come this great organized PLP don't know what the issues are, or don't want to cater to what the people want with issues? That should tell you something right there. That's the first thing. If they know that the people are into the issues and they're deflecting from the issues and distracting from the issues, as Reconciler says, can you trust them? See, that's another thing. We're doing a little study right here as we watch and listen to what you're saying. Can you trust them? Why can't they face the issues head on, especially since the nation's chief executive, the Right Honorable Prime Minister Perry Gladstone Christie, said that he will address the VAT issue. He hasn't done so to date. Especially since he told us something about Bahama being open and there was a sale. It has not been sold. You see, these are telltale signs of what is to come. And that's why I ask you, if it is important for you, the Bahamian electorate, to hone in on the issues, or for you to be absorbed in all of this crazy talk about who could talk and who can't talk, who can't pronounce words properly and who you know what they're saying, and all this kind of stuff. Because that is, my friend, a distraction of the highest order. But if you think it's the right way to go, let's talk. I'm listening to you. Hard copy, how are you? Hard copy, how are you?
Hello.
Yes, how you doing today?
McKinney. Yeah, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, okay. We're going through a lot here about the PLP party. And it's very simple. Everything in a nutshell.
You gotta
They
turn it ready.
spend $100 million, we get $1 million worth.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of money that they spend, we ought to have streets paved with gold.
I see.
And all we got is potholes. They have a lot of racket. Plenty racket. People say they don't have no racket to run on, but they have a lot of racket, but they're all bad rackets.
Oh, bad rackets.
Yes, sir.
Rackets you're talking about.
Everything is in a nutshell.
Mhm.
In order for them to get $1 million worth of anything, they got to spend $100 million to get it.
My Lord.
So no country could survive doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So you want to know more about the accountability measures because there has been no accountability, and it doesn't seem as if anybody's interested in being accountable.
That's right.
So from your understanding of where things are right now, is it enough to convict the PLP and say that's it for them, and you sentence them, and if you do, what kind of a result are you looking at as far as the elections are concerned? The results I'm talking about.
I don't know, but I'm thinking that Nassau has made a big change, and hopefully that the FNM will be able to do a lot better than they did.
Mm-hmm.
But the choice is clear for people to know what's been going on. I mean, we collected $1 billion in debt,
Mm-hmm.
VAT money,
yeah, VAT
and
money
we don't see nothing
that you can touch and feel.
is where it's been spent.
I understand.
There's nowhere that it's been spent. I live in the island, and here in the island, the roads is all tore up, potholes. And
What island?
Coming back out.
Yeah, what island are you on? What you on where?
Spanish Wells.
You're in Spanish Wells. Okay, my posse down in Spanish Wells, they listen to the show all the time, I know. And of course, you all have not been impressed. What about the young man who's going to be on the PLP side representing Spanish Wells? What's the score on that?
I don't know. He has a family here that would probably vote for him, but it's clear the last 5 years that Perry was here, the same thing happened as what's happened this 5 years.
I see.
Spent a lot of money, but nothing was done.
So
Spent a lot of money, but you see something that was done for where he spent his money. He built a hospital, he built a strong market, he spent a lot of money on the roads, he built a school here, he built one on Harbor Island, he built Dark and Tree Islands, he built stuff on the Cove.
But this,
around, he spent money, and you could see where money was spent.
I understand.
These are spending billions of dollars, and there's no evidence for where the money's going.
Yes.
They spent $150 million in Andros and Dempsey, and if you got somebody right now from the U.S. to come here and give you a praise on that, they probably would tell you it's not worth $10 million, what all they have there.
I understand. I appreciate your call. So
This is where our problem is. Our problem is we cannot get dollar for dollar, and until we can get a government that can give us dollar for dollar.
Yeah.
If they spend their own money, they want $1.50 for a dollar.
Yes,
But
I
when
understand.
they're spending people's money, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, listen here. They tell me that
That's our biggest problem.
they tell me that the people will try to send Clay Sweeting from down there to the House this time around. But I suppose he may get caught up in. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but I'm sure he may get caught up in the baggage of the PLP and the bad performance that they've shown us this time around.
But it seems like to me that they don't want, the PLP doesn't want Clay from what they did. He had a strong hold in Archie Bay and JC.
Oh, the cuts. You mean the boundary
They took
cuts?
that from him. So they really don't want him to win. That's the way it seems to me.
I see. All right. I appreciate your call. Tell the good folks in Spanish Wells. Steve says hello, and we wish them the best. I know they had a good fishing season this time, and some houses were saved, I'm told, from mortgages and all that. So that's a good thing if that in fact happened.
All right. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Okay, great. All right. Hard copy. How are you?
Hello.
Hello. Yes, sir.
Yeah, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Yeah, man. See, well, let me say this, man. The PLB said they were going to get into the mudslinging, right? And they just said that a day earlier, and that's all they're doing is mudslinging.
Well, they say one thing, but they do something else. And
and then we got another deed to them. Deceive us, man. You know, and you see another night from Mr. Christie was on the podium. Was on the stage, walk right past the podium.
yeah, I just looked at it and I laughed, but I'm saying that, maybe he was thinking something else. Obviously, he was thinking something else when he walked past the microphone. What do you think that is? I mean, a lot of people sent it on Facebook, so they probably figured that this was some significant thing. He's not
in focus.
in focus. Okay.
Also, they talking this talk, but calm talk. Mr. Minister say it's not like them. That's talking.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Mr. Minister need to tell them, I don't know if you told them yet, tell them ring the bell. That's talking, because but you see, if the Bahamas would take another 5 years of this PLP, I don't know, and I don't even think Bahamas is going to open, I really don't even think Bahamas is going to open, and I can't see the PLP getting more than the 11 seats there. Thanks for the time, man.
I appreciate your call. Thank you for the time. And of course, the people the lines are lit right up. People are talking. And this is exactly what I want to provoke. I want you to talk and tell me what your thoughts are, because even those who have been preaching this thing about they are stable and their stability is going to get them somewhere far, they need to hear what you are saying. And even those who are supportive of the government, there are many things that is not right. And if you don't speak up, well, the rocks will cry out, because it's our country. We are the board of directors. We the people. It's our country. We have a say in the matter. And unfortunately, there's some people who are telling us to shut up, let them say what they want to say with mudslinging and the rest of it, and they're not speaking to the issues. I would wish that Christie and his men would speak to these issues, because now I'm being convinced myself that something must be wrong if they can't speak to simple issues. You were in charge of the monies. You're supposed to know what you did with the monies. And if you can't give an account for the monies, at least attempt to give an account for the monies. There has been absolutely nothing that we have heard from the time that Alcides, in the words of Prime Minister Hubert Alexander Ingram, this morning I saw a clip from his interview recently on the counselor's program, the morning program on television, and he was also flabbergasted, the Prime Minister, former Prime Minister Ingram. He was flabbergasted that, from the time the young man, the Minister of State, made his statement about the VAT money, he seemed to have missed the boat on the whole matter. My words, not Ingram's, but along those lines, Ingram was saying. And that is a major thing. See, just hearing Ingram say that today tells me that he understands the issue and what could be exploited in this political campaign. You know what is the biggest thing in this political campaign? What will be exploited? The fact that, nobody can give an account on this VAT. No one has been able to say anything substantive on this VAT. And so as a result of it, people are asking more questions. Now, in just a minute, I'm going to turn my attention to other things, but I want to get all of these calls that I have here and have your say. Hard Copy, how are you? Hard Copy, good afternoon. Okay, good afternoon, Hard Copy, how are you? Yes, good afternoon, I'm listening.
Yes. Am I on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What I wanted to say, Mr. McKinney, have you watched that shindig they had in Freeport Friday night?
Yeah, I watched I watched the thing with the Free National Movement. I didn't get to see the one with the PLP because I don't think it was live.
Okay, the reason I asked because the Free National Movement was on Channel 12 and the PLP was on 11.
Uh-huh.
Now I saw something happen.
My goodness, I didn't know that.
There Friday night, Mr. McKinney. It was a low-down shame and a disgrace on the part of the bishop who owns that church. They said his name is one Mr. Godfrey Williams. Now, I'm not being facetious to say this because the world will testify to this and the proof of the pudding is in the eating. You will see it. They had those men from Christie on down and everyone whom he nominates to run in various constituencies. You know what they've done, Mr. McKinney?
What?
They got up in the pulpit of the cathedral on Settlers Way. See, I'm telling you places and where it is because I taxi in Freeport. They got up in St. John's Cathedral on Settlers Way, and they campaigned in that pulpit more rapidly
Is that right?
Vulgar, and they would have campaigned on the main street.
My Lord.
Trust me, Mr. McKinney.
Mm-hmm.
The good Lord is about to send set such example in that PLP organization until it would bring tears to even the baby's eyes, because I never thought Christendom would have stooped that low or into a church. They tell me those buildings which is being consecrated, say, for a church, it should be a sacred place.
Well, you have to blame Bishop Williams. He ought to have a protocol, I wouldn't blame Christie and them. They went on the stage to talk before their people, and that was the biggest place that they had, the cathedral. It must be a big cathedral for them to have an audience there. So if the bishop them didn't set a guideline, then the church just became a building and not a sanctuary.
Well, you are right. And here what Godfrey Williams going to say. Oh, well, I wanted to thank the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister for the stellar job in which they've done. This is my personal opinion now, Mr. McKinney. I'm not speaking for anybody, but I'm saying Godfrey Williams is a national disgrace. And if I'm passing Settlers Way, whomever driving, if I'm not myself, I will turn my head on the other side, because I didn't thought, well, let me end this by saying, it's a lot of these wearing these dresses and these gong or these robes or whatever you call it. And you know what they're doing? They're running the people from Christ. They are hell-bound traps, Mr. McKinney.
I hear you.
Christy is so lost until hope cannot even find him. And believe me, the only thing he doing running from Judgment Hall to Judgment Hall and trying to lambaste the Prime Minister to be Mr. Minnis. Mr. Minnis will win this election ashore if you sitting in your office, and guess what? That ain't long now, Mr. McKinney. Have a good evening.
I appreciate your call. Thank you. Lots of calls from the Family Islands this evening. Spanish Valley, Eleuthera, Cat Island earlier, and of course just now Grand Bahama, and of course a couple of calls from Grand Bahama today. So that means that people on the islands, that's another indication of what we're looking at. The islands are abuzz with what's going on. They are perhaps more involved in this political thing than Nassauvians, because Nassauvians seem to be more laid back, even though they're very vocal privately. They say, I don't want nobody to hear my voice. And the people in the islands, they're talking, you see, and that's what it's all about. What do you think? I asked a simple question, that is this. If you're going to deal with issues or you want to deal with mudslinging and propaganda, it seems as if Christie and the PLP have been doing more mudslinging and more of a propaganda kind of distraction kind of thing. Don't look at this, look at that. And the FNM has been trying to bring up the issues. And what are those issues? You, the people, have told me today what the issues are. And I have to say that you're correct on what the issues are. So does that mean that we should cast an election campaign this time on issues of the nation? Or do you want to get into the hype and the hoopla and the rah-rah and the rhetoric of who can do what and who could do it better? Because you see, that's the two sides of the coin. And whatever you decide is what these players are going to give you. And I suppose Minnis has really been pushing the issues, and Christie has been saying things like, I don't think that Minnis is prepared to govern and run this country. And Christie wants someone to hear what he's saying. What are your thoughts? Hard Copy, how you doing?
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Peace and love. All is well.
Great. Well, Steve, I'm just wondering, sometimes I believe as Bahamians, we got really short-term memory, I don't know if you've ever, as long as you've been in this world, ever seen any election campaign or any campaign where the two parties are very nice towards each other.
Never.
They're very cordial towards each other.
Never. I've never seen it.
I'm trying to figure out, let me just say something to you. This is a big boys games now. This ain't no small worrying about what Minnis feel and how he feel.
You got to put on your big boys pants.
Let me tell you something. At the end of the day, and here's what I want to say. There was a gentleman just called not too long from Spanish Well. One of the biggest investments that protected him and helped him and many others to have a beautiful fishing season this year was thank God for those boats that were purchased for the Defense Force.
Yes, indeed.
I feel as though that sometimes, and this is why I said, Bahamians, we got to be very careful as to how ungrateful we can be at times. We're not saying that anyone is perfect, whether pro or con, because in my opinion, Peter, you know better than Paul. But we got to look at, as you say, the issues.
Yeah.
And if we could be honestly and saying this consistently that the PLP do this, the PLP do that. See, I am a more educated and a more liberal voter. And I think Bahamians need to get away from this PLP, FNM, DNA. What we need to become is more civil-minded, educated voters.
Indeed.
Deal with issues.
Indeed.
I'm a young person. I'm getting kind of tired of actually hearing people talk about this and that, and it ain't got nothing to do with facts. So there's hearsay. I'm trying to tell people, listen, at the end of the day, you say the PLP ain't do nothing. For you to make that kind of statement, you got to be ludicrous. F&M, and I'm saying to us, we got a very, very short-term memory. And I hope we realize in this country, it don't ever seem as though we're going to have a 10-year run government anymore.
Yeah,
more than 10-year run government.
Yeah, it sounds like that's a thing of the past.
Every time that comes around, we could be changing government every 5 years.
That's not good. That happened in Jamaica, and you saw what happened at the end of the day in Jamaica. They just had total
I'm telling you, and we need to understand as Bahamians, you can't do that.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that you say, and I agree with fully, is the fact that we've got to be more liberal in our thinking and more discerning in our looking at these political parties. And at the same time, we've got to also remember it is about the facts. It is about the issues. Right. And anyone who decides that they're going to do things like mudslinging and propagandize a lot of things, they're doing themselves a disservice, because if they face the issues and tackle the issues head on, maybe some people could be satisfied that they've done this, they've done that, they've done the other thing, and it can be over and done with. But, I think that's one of the reasons why I did this show today, just to make sure that we can get a reading from people. And I've gotten a good reading from...
Let me just make this last point.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
we talking about Minister so much. Minister ain't mudslinging himself.
Minister what?
He listening or what or reading his newspaper. He ain't doing mudslinging himself.
And him. Oh, mudslinging. Minister's doing mudslinging, you say?
Yeah, he mudslinging himself.
Well, give me an example what he said.
Let me give you an example.
Mhm.
He said Christie is old. You might as well say he's the old pieces up to put out to pasture now, and he's making unlogical decisions based on his age and all this other thing and whatnot. And I'm trying to figure out, that's only one of the things that I'm hearing. But we got to be fair. That's all I'm just saying.
Well, I never heard that, but I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I make a note of it.
Somebody said that politics is the worst kind of ticks,
Yeah.
and that's the truth.
Well, anyway, we'll see. Well, so if you were to use your educated guess today on what could be the potential outcome based upon the current affairs right now that you're seeing, all the misinformation, all the propaganda, all of some of the bits and pieces of little facts here and there, and all the conjecture, how do you call this particular election at this point, if you can?
Well, I really honestly truly believe that this is going to be a tight election. In my opinion, I think the PLP will just edge it out. I think they're being a little bit too overconfident, and it's possibly can go either way. So honestly, fully, it's difficult for me to say. Honestly,
I understand. Okay, I appreciate your call. Thank you kindly. All right, let me take the rest of these calls, and I'm going to switch my script because I think I've gotten a good little bit of good composite right now of what is going on out there. And I'm happy today that I got all the people from around the different parts of the islands, so it doesn't seem to be Nassau-centric. And this is quite interesting. Hard copy, how are you?
Good afternoon, Steve. Am I on?
Yes, sir, you're on. You're on with Steve. I'm Hard Copy Live. I'm listening to you.
Okay, it was a little long wait, Steve, but that's all right.
Well, I'm sorry about that. I think I did go over your call twice and went to another call. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, Steve, the Perry Christie and the PLP, they can afford to engage in their minutes only and no issues campaign.
You said they can afford to do that?
Yeah, if they think that that's going to make them successful,
I
then
see.
they can afford to do it.
I see.
For my part, I am waiting impatiently for the PLP campaign, for the PLP candidate in my area to arrive at my house. And what I have done, Steve McKinney, is I have written out, I've taken time, and I have written out 21 issues that I am going to put to the PLP candidate in my area. And can I just give you one or two of them or a few of them, Steve?
No,
Let you know what they are?
just give me two of those major issues that you have. What is it?
Okay, let me see if I can pick out two of these out of the 21. Rubis.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Say it Rubis, right? That's a one-word one, right?
Yeah, Rubis, yeah.
Another one. That is the big one, right?
Yes, that's a big one.
That's a common one, but I'll give you one that a lot of people probably tend to forget. National Intelligence Agency.
Yes, NIA.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's a rogue agency. No legislation has yet been presented to Parliament.
No.
For the establishment of that issue.
Indeed,
and yet it
indeed.
is functioning. We do not know what the people they are doing.
Well, they listen to our phone calls.
I consider that to be government run amok. All right, but Steve, I got 21 issues, and I am just waiting for them to arrive, the PLP candidate in my area to arrive at my house so that we can discuss these 21 issues.
I got you.
Other than that, I'll say this, Steve, I had the pleasure and the good health and fortune to go and pick up my voter's card today.
Yep.
And after I got it, I cherished it in my hand, and I said out loud, I have a weapon in my hand, and I intend to use it well.
I hear you. I got a sword in my hand. Remember that song? And I'm going to use it well.
I was thinking about it, but I didn't remember the word sword. I said weapon.
Yeah. Well, you got it. Yeah. I appreciate it. All the best to you. Great. We are going down, Jordan. We are going down. That's the song. You remember that? We are going down. We're gonna walk the heavenly road. I tell you, it's a serious thing. Hard copy. How are you? You didn't know I could sing. I listened to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, you hear me, Steve?
Yes. What you saying, sir?
Look here, brother. This
Hey, Gully, what's up?
Let me tell you something. I'll be real with you. Let's go to 87 when he was free, independent. Okay? Let's go to Perry Christie's legacy now. Okay? When he became a minister of tourism, he was lousy. Okay? He had 2 terms given to him, which he totally dispersed. Okay? Now, his game is what is piracy cabinet he has. It's piracy cabinet.
Piracy cabinet.
Baby. The same thing go back with Clement Maynard. Okay? This election had come to 1972, if you can remember 72 election.
Yeah, you sound like you want to take me all the way down the road. 72 election was a very, very, very volatile election. A lot of funny business happened. Fires and all kind of stuff. The campaign headquarters getting burned down. All kind of stuff. Murders and all kinds of stuff. Remember? So this election is going to be a good election if we, the people, behave ourselves and decide that we're going to deal with issues. Deal with the issues, stick with the issues, and no mudslinging, because people catch feelings. That's a new term now that the fellas got, you catching feelings, eh? And when they catch feelings, they don't always, respond in a way that's a good way. And that's one of the reasons why we ought to stay with the focus of what's the issues. And the issues are that, the issues of immigration, these are the issues, the bad economy, so forth and so on. And there's some people who want to flip that script and say the issues are about pillaging and corruption and the rest of it. And there may be some of those issues, but we have real issues like the downgrade that we got, the junk bond status. These are things that we've got to find reasons and ways and means and solutions to say, this is how we're going to fix these things again. And that's what I think people want. But, what do I know? Hard Copy, how are you?
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Turn on your radio, man.
Yes, sir. I want to make a point. The gentleman who called, I think it was 2 or 3 calls before the last call. I think he mentioned something, say that how ungrateful people could be or something like that.
Yes, yeah, he said that many people could be ungrateful because they forget about a lot of things. He's saying that the PLP has done some things, to be fair. He says they've done some things and it's imperative that they come out and say exactly what those things are. But at the same time, you can't expect that they haven't done anything in 5 years. That's what his point was.
I want to make a point, all right? If I have a company, okay? I have vacancies in different departments. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You come to me, I put out advertising these whatever vacancies to be filled. Come and say that you want to be hired. We hired you, right? The company hired you to fill those vacancies, to bring order or whatever needs to be done in certain departments, right?
Mm-hmm.
You use my company money to make sure that everything in the department was done and brought up to what I hired you for. That's what I hired you for, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how in return that he could say that I am grateful, I am ungrateful.
You hired him to do a job, and when
I hired you to put a job.
I understand.
You use my money to bring order and stability to my company.
Yeah.
Yet I'm ungrateful?
No, you I get your point.
You see what I'm saying?
I got your point.
My thing is, you see, Benjamin people, we just frustrated about everyday life, It's not all of these big things where they try to make it seem like Obama and all this other thing. People don't really, people want Obama open, we want it open because it's going to produce jobs.
Yeah.
But
you are concerned about everyday matters.
To win an election.
I see.
It's an everyday frustration when you go into the government department and you go just to get.
You got to get those things fixed. I see what you're saying. And I agree with you. Yeah.
That's all it is. But to be honest with you, the PLP, they might get 5. I can be honest with you.
But they might get 5, eh?
They're
that unpopular?
I can't support them this way.
You think that they are that unpopular at this time?
I'm telling you, Mr. McKinney, I will make another point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Christie came to prior to 2012, right? They give him a chance. We vote for him, right? He came back. He said, give him another chance. We vote for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
You failed on 2 attempts. Now you're coming back again and say we must vote for you again.
Third time is a charm, man. This may be the time he may do something.
But we have someone who we have never given a chance to. let's give him a chance and let's see what he can do. And then if he don't do what he say he do, he going to.
I understand. I appreciate your call.
Yes,
thank you for your conversation. I tell you, man, it's obvious that the people want to deal with issues, real issues. That's consideration for Mr. Christie and his men to take under serious consideration, that they don't want mudslinging and propaganda, and they don't want misdirection and deflection because they see through it. They're too smart now. They see through it. And it's not a good thing. So cheaper, as the young people say, you stick with the issues and you look at what you have on that issues list and you tick them off one by one, face them right in the eye and deal with them, because people want to know, for good or for bad, they want to know. Because there may be some good things that they can tell us that they did. But if they do it so late, if they do it too late in the game, nobody's going to believe them. They can say, oh, just come rig that up now because, and that's one of the things that Mr. Christie and those have to understand. The other thing is that Christie is outside of his character. Now, if anybody knows Christie and have been studying him and talking about him and writing about him and all those things, I think that I would be a good judgment of character. Christie is a guy with a good track record as far as his character is concerned. It is not his character to be mudslinging. I can tell you that right now. So he's off his game. Steve, say so. He is so off his game, if he don't get back on his game, he'll be on his backside, flat down on his backside as a loser. He has to get back on his game. His game is to take the issues and talk the issues and bring clarity to it. That's his game. And if you don't do that, well, dog eat his lunch. He can be getting caught up with his other men who he believe are his, I call them the X-Men, Jerome and those. And I don't have anything against Jerome. I just telling you, Jerome really should not have gotten nominated. Simple as that. That's how Steve feels about it. He is a load for Christie and them. He reminds the people of how terrible Christie them would have done. Maybe some people might have forgotten, but with Jerome there in the chair, my friend, he attracts that kind of lightning. Now, you don't have to like what I'm saying, but I tell you, at the end of the day, you'll see what I'm saying. But he is now the member of Parliament, the incumbent, who has been renominated and so forth and so on. And let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes. But that getting advice from certain people is not what is in Christie's best interest, not in Christie's best interest. And there are others like that around Christie, that people, I'll tell you another one. I'll give you this as a bonus. Alison Maynard Gibson. She is the substantive minister of Attorney General, but just because, I think she's a good person, but just because she's been caught betwixt and between, and Jerome is the other part of that, the Nollies, the Nolli Posse, the Bahama thing, this thing that just seemed to be a bad news kind of nightmare for the Bahamian people. And she's at the forefront of all of those negotiations. That's what I'm saying. Now, they don't have to like me for that. And I really don't care if they don't. The point is, they are lightning rods for Christie. You see the point? And so if he is getting advice from any of them, and he's talking this kind of fool about Minnis and all that, and Christie is a good guy. Minnis is a nice guy, and so they have a better relationship than we know. But this kind of name calling, this kind of referring to him as somebody who just ain't got it and all that, which the gentleman's correct. You should be able to put on your big boy pants and play the game. But you see, it leaves a bad taste in the mouth of the incoming government. Even if that's Christie. When you start that kind of thing about that, that goes international. That's the end of it. The people say, man, I understand this fella don't have it. So you don't want to see them other bunch of Chinese and other people from other parts of the world coming there with their suitcase saying that they come to make some things happen. Because this fella is a dummy. He don't know what's going on. That's what the perception would be. All right? So we've got to get on board and understand that the game is big. It's for the country. It's for the nation. And so we must not waste time mudslinging and all that. And so I'm saying today what I've learned from this little episode, and I've got to go to some other areas now, but what I've learned from this today is that it had a good complexion A good combination of people from around the islands. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that they're all saying the same thing. And they all are of the view that Christie can lose. They're all of the view that he can lose bad. And they all of the view that he shouldn't be mudslinging because they don't like it. Now, if one can't glean from that the obvious answers to what should happen, then that's on you all. But that's why I rested here today on that part of Hard Copy. I want to run to the break, and when I come back here this evening, we are going to talk with another part of Hard Copy that is more positive, upbeat, and I suppose promising. That is that of BTC and the things that they have been doing to shore up a lot of things here in the country as far as culture, sports, and entertainment, and the rest of that is concerned, and as far as the participation of so many Bahamian professionals in the industry. We're going to talk today with Mr. Leon Williams when we come back here this evening on Hard Copy Live after these words.
We want to know the people's choice. So drop whatever you're doing, grab your smartphone or computer, and log on to www.CasicAwards.com to vote for your favorite Bahamian secular or gospel song. Whether you love to dig up the road like Fanchon, put your hands in the air like D-Mac, or remind the world that God is the boss like Rocky and Uncle Sam, the choice is yours. The 17th Annual Casic Awards, April 8, 2017. Log on and cast your vote today.
It's March Madness, it's March Mania, it's Magnificent March at the Beauty Shack, home of the Bedazzled Ultra Double Platinum 100% human hair. Beginning March 31st to April 1st, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Everything under the tent has got to go. Save 15% on all in-store purchases. Nail techs, barbers, and beauticians get 20% off. All new products, same low prices, will be under the tent and price to go. All roads lead to the Beauty Shack for their bigger and better pre-Easter 2-day tent sale. March 31st and April 1st. The Beauty Shack, bringing products to the people.
It's said that variety is the spice of life. At Devania's Manufacturing Limited, we've got an abundance of variety that is sure to spice up your life. Bahamian hot pepper sauce, Junkanoo pepper sauce, tamarind hot sauce, guava, mango, and pineapple glaze, natural and native ingredients, beautifully bottled, labeled, and wrapped for local consumption and export. 15 years and growing strong. Devania Spices, distributing Bahamian spices and condiments worldwide. Visit our website at www.devanias.com or phone in your orders 601-1065. Devanias, we add spice to your life.
The magic of Motown comes to Nirvana, Nassau, Bahamas on Friday, March 24th. Don't miss this live, energetic show presented by the Vice Versa Band. Songs that will lift you out of your seat and transport you into musical history. Don't miss the magic. That's Friday, March 24th at Nirvana at 7 p.m. Covers $25. For reservations, call 805-5977.
I enjoy Hard Copy. I just love the information. It's informative, relevant, and timely. I love it.
Attention homeowners. Do you have enough coverage for your home and possessions? Well, if you're not sure, maybe it's time you talk to Advantage Insurance. Your property and belongings are probably worth a lot more now than when you first insured them. After all the natural disasters we have experienced, it's more important than ever to be fully protected. Call Advantage Insurance at 356-0285 or visit us on Collins Avenue today. Advantage Insurance, celebrating 20 years of service.
Mark the date, Saturday, March 25th, 2017. It's an open house to showcase all the amenities of a well-appointed gated community on West Bay Street, Lyford Hills, just opposite Old Fort Bay and Lyford Key. Lyford Hills, it's calling young professional to a lifestyle second to none. Fitness center, tennis court, racquetball and squash court, media center, bistro and bar, swimming pool and hot tub, movie theater, walking trails and fruit trees, green spaces, 24-hour security, and the list goes on. Come and see for yourself Life in Hills Open House. Mark the date, Saturday, March 25th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now is a good time to get yourself a piece of the rock. Call Life at Hills right now, 362-1652 or 362-1214. Life at Hills.
This year, don't be caught singing the Christmas blues. Start saving now with your own B.O.B. Christmas Club account. Sign up before June 30th with just $20. Earn high interest and have guaranteed spending money in time for Christmas. Don't be left in a bind this year. Let B.O.B.'s Christmas Club account work for you. Sign up today at your nearest B.O.B. branch. B.O.B., your bank of solutions.
Looking for that one-stop shop where you can find everything? Hadji's is just the place. A fully stocked store that is convenient and reliable. If you're looking for automotive, electrical, lawn and garden, household, nails and screws, hardware, power tools, plumbing, and even paint supplies, stop by Hadji's on St. Albans Drive. They have a full line of groceries, personal notions, and sundry. Your one-stop shop for everything. Hadji's, number 22 St. Albans Drive. Call them at 323-4375.
Get on board with the Bahamas Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority. They are cleaning up the country and fixing things in our communities, like the public parks and beaches. It's such a rewarding thing. And to see the young men and women from the various communities totally engaged in massive cleanup makes it worth the effort. Local truckers and waste management companies are going over and beyond to do their part. It's time for you to do your part, hand in hand with the Bahamas Public Parks and Public Beaches Authority.
And now, here's a message from Bishop Neil C. Ellis.
Let me remind you that no one is without trouble, without personal hardship and genuine chaos, challenges, and crisis. Yet, so often, it's your chaos, your mess, that becomes the womb for God's birthing place for a miracle in your life. In these early days of this brand new year, for which we have already been stamped approved, I truly believe that if this year we are able to look at the circumstances of our lives differently, we may just get periodic glimpses of the miracle that is emerging.
Please, 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 please.
The government better get itself coordinated, that's all organized.
We're going in reverse. There's been no governance in this country for some time.
Try something different. Try something innovative. We are playing childish games.
In my judgment, this is the worst administration in the history of this country.
And where they are failing, nobody can wait on them.
I feel like there are some persons that are going to try and make a difference. Now, will we be given the chance to?
We got to be able to sow seeds of hope and a realistic feeling that it might not happen yet for me, but it's coming.
You got to be joking.
Welcome back to Hard Copy. And of course, there are so many things that have been happening here in the country that we've got to now turn our attention to some of the other stuff that, in fact, may be of interest to you. And of course, one of the things that's of interest to me on this consumer talk about business and dollars and cents hour here on the show, we normally like to talk about things that's happening in a good way for Bahamians, because we need all the motivation we can get. And in this segment today on the show, we're talking with the CEO of BTC, and a lot of wonderful things are happening there. I talked about BTC about a week or so ago, about the many big promotions that took place at BTC with all these wonderful people moving up the ladder. And this is the success story that people want to hear. They want to hear about Bahamians getting better and doing wonderful things in all areas of life. But this thing over at BTC was a great example. I call it a sterling example of the kind of innovation and the kind of believability in Bahamians that one man showed, and his name is Leon Williams. He is the CEO. He's a man himself who was pushed back and thrown away at one point, but then he came back, resurrected himself, and got on the horse and begun to ride it again. And this time he's brought a whole drayload of Bahamians with him who are in top executive management positions. And many of them are women who have stayed the course, and they're all qualified. And some of them are young people. And I'm saying, you know, look, this man has been able to see the wisdom in doing things with young people and young executives. And they've done him proud, and they've done the company proud, and they've done the Bahamas proud, because it's something that we ought to celebrate, that people who have been given, I suppose, in the big picture, some people say, man, they've been slighted, you know, they ain't nobody, they third class, second class citizens in their own home. But Mr. Williams has been able to find some bright spots and bring them to the fore, and they have performed. That's the thing about it. They've only not been promoted, they've been performing to the point where they are still on the top of their game in this thing called telecommunications in the Bahamas. And so we welcome Mr. Williams here to the show this afternoon. Sir, how are you?
It's good to be here, Steve. I was wondering how you were going to make that segue. I listened to you on the way here, from sitting in the studios for the last couple, and your temperature was so high.
from all those things, we have to go through it and then come right back to the bottom line.
Yeah, you know how to do it. You know how to do it.
Once you're talking about Bahamians, and you're talking about Bahamians who are looking for something greater, they may not get it now. As the Prime Minister said in that clip, you know, we've got to sow seeds of hope, and it may not happen now, but you got to believe it's coming.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's one of the things that is happening here, that you sowed some seed of hopes, and a lot of Bahamians who are now performing quite well, and the company is performing quite well and still holding its own, BTC, and is still the talk of the town, even though there's some new people in town. But of course, the talk is BTC.
BTC. Well,
that's just the way it is.
And, you know, I had a meeting this morning with the president of UB, University of the Bahamas, and trying to figure out how we're going to forge our way forward. We have since in the last 2 years donated an innovation lab, prepared to build an innovation lab of some $340,000. We were thinking about how we're going to change the scholarships to an endowment investment. BTC has given more than $1 million to the University of the Bahamas.
That's what I've been told.
10 students attending, and some of them are graduating this semester as the first class of the University of the Bahamas. 10 of those are fully funded 4-year scholarships by BTC.
Wow.
So we put our money with our mouth. Yes, and I prefer people who could execute in action rather than just talk.
Yeah.
Today, for example, we had a press conference, and you know the IAAF.
Yes.
And Dr. Danny Johnson said he wanted to create this industry of sports in the Bahamas,
which is a very good idea.
Yeah. So the IAAF might be considering home for the Bahamas for 5 years.
5 more years.
Yeah.
Because they had done something earlier.
So we're the title sponsor, and we gave them hopefully the team is carrying those, and they came in and we did a press conference, gave them 300 as title sponsor, $300,000+.
Wow.
Arjun Kaga was there, you know, he's into swimming, and so we sponsored swimming again, and another $90,000. So BTC and of course the Carifta, Flow is sponsoring, Caven Wireless sponsoring the track and field, but we did some sponsorship here as well. So we did all that today. And of course, you know, we are also the title sponsor for the first World Beach Soccer.
Yes,
guys. The FIFA came in and built a whole stadium there by the bridge.
Is that going to stay there or what?
Yeah, I think it's going to stay
nice.
there. I think we need to take that vision of making the Bahamas diversify economy, to make it as a sports mecca.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
if you can get a nice thing over there, that stadium, you know, that seemed to just been put together overnight, and it's sturdy, and then you could do one over in the back over here on South Beach side, and you know, different areas, and perhaps some of the islands. That would be a good thing
for the finals, because you know they've selected the 16 teams for the finals. We really have to put some jumbo television screens in the parking lot, because people are on the bridge lining up, and this is only for the test trials and stuff.
Right.
So they had to turn people away at nighttime. I was surprised the amount of games that
I
turned out.
was for soccer. I mean, everybody was out there. I mean, I saw more people carrying their little cushions to sit on their bottles of libation of Heineken or whatever it was, and they seemed to have had a good time. But let's talk a little bit, Leon Williams, about the things that BTC has done. See, you guys are so kind of like modest. You don't like to. The whole key is that Junkanoo sponsorship again, $800,000.
Junkanoo, we do $850 for Junkanoo. $850.
You've got this
and $1 million for Carnival.
Yeah. Well, listen, and you've got this Carifta investing in the young people. That Carifta and all that is coming with the swimming as well as the track and field. And you've been doing some things to try to market and bring along the Flow television with the things that you are doing. Now, this is innovative because, there are people who are saying that they can't wait for Flow TV in their neck of the woods because they want to see a level of competition. They want to see themselves. We want to see ourselves on TV.
Right.
And that is an important thing, especially the people in the Family Islands. I know you started with Bimini and some other areas in Salvador and some other areas you've gotten it done. Right. But now people centrally located want to see what you have to offer. And they're hoping that their businesses, their whatever can be a part of it. Somebody told me to ask you as well about, as we talk about this Flow TV for a minute, they told me to ask you about radio stations being hooked into this whole thing with Flow TV. Now, is there a provision for that kind of stuff now? Because people want to hear what's happening in the capital on these radio stations. They want to hear without any interruption in transmission, or where people may say, well, something went wrong today, so they can't hear it. They're not able to hear what's going on. That has been a turnoff for a lot of people. I wonder if you have anything in your innovative plans.
I think, Steve, this is really the challenge came out when the ITU, International Telecommunication Union, came to the Bahamas in 2015, December, and decided that they challenged the government, Prime Minister Cressidos, to make New Providence the first smart island in the Caribbean.
Okay.
Alison Maynard Gibson, the Attorney General, took it one step further and wanted to make the Bahamas the first smart nation in the Caribbean. Of course, we are fighting again with Curacao because Curacao wants to become the first smart nation in the Caribbean, but Curacao is just one island. Our challenge, when I spoke at the United Nations SID conference just a couple of weeks ago down at the Manila, our challenge is that we've got 700 islands, rocks, and keys. We've got 53 airports in this country, 53 airports, 30 owned by the government. Take an island like Jamaica, a nation like Jamaica, two major airports.
Yeah.
You've got
One
Mobe
big landmass,
and you got Negril coming in there for a population of 4 million. Go down to Trinidad, 1.73 million people. You've got Port of Spain. You go to an island like Eleuthera, you've got what? 3 airports. Eleuthera, Abaco got 3 airports. You've got 30 airports owned by the government, 23 privately owned. There's no country in the Caribbean, this side of the Western Hemisphere, has got that. And when you've got American Airlines flying into Nassau, American Airlines flying into Grand Bahama, it's flying into Abaco, it's flying into Eleuthera, it's flying into San Salvador. That's just American Airlines. And I say that to explain what is required for people who want to aspire to get into politics, what's required to manage a country like this with the resources of 350,000.
Yeah, it's a tall order. There's no question about it.
Yeah, when there are three pre-cleared airports in the entire Caribbean. One of those is in Aruba, the other 2 in the Bahamas, one in Grand Bahama and one in Nassau. So Bahamians don't know what somebody like me has to go through traveling 2 and 3 times. I just come out of Panama, standing on them long lines in Miami, trying to get through customs and immigration, almost miss my connections and stuff. But it is not just me talking about the 53 airports. These airports has to be hooked up back to some central place using ICT, information telecommunication, technology, so that the manifest of these international flights could get into.
Understood.
You understand?
I got you.
It needs real time. And I can tell you, last year sometime, there was a break in communications at the airport, LPIA. That break in communication meant that the FAA could not communicate with the airport.
That must happen in no time.
In 15, 20 minutes. Therefore, they could not dispatch planes to Nassau, which meant that those planes were sitting on the gate in MIA in Miami, which meant that American Airlines had to make a decision whether they leave those planes on the gate, move them off, deplane the passengers, because planes coming in could not get on the gate. The point I'm making, a simple telecommunications break at LPIA created a jam and overflow problem in Miami. So we don't see the interconnectedness of the small country like the Bahamas. That would have never happened in Trinidad. By the time the plane leave Miami, get down to Trinidad 3 hours later, 4 hours later. But the flight is just a 30-minute flight, 40-minute flight. And so what is required to manage a country, an archipelagic nation like the Bahamas, moving forward, particularly that we've got to get the ICT in place. And to get the ICT in place, not only do you want the ICT in place, but you want your people to manage the ICT. Okay, so that brings me to the other thing, Steve. You look at a Digicel in the Caribbean, a competitor. Been here 20 years. Not a single Caribbean national is CEO.
So your point.
I don't have to spell it out. It makes its revenues out of the poorest country, which is Haiti in the Caribbean, is $750 million.
Wow.
A year. The owner, 94% owner, his dividend to himself, $650 million. And that's 43 million people in the Caribbean jumping up. And people in the Bahamas jump up. Bring Digicel here to compete. Digicel here to compete. And then we start to talk about the people spying on us. I mean, you know. and I said to segue into this point, I went into BTC in 2014. Prior to that, I had been CEO in 2005. There were 16 executives, Bahamian executives running BTC. By 2014, after privatization, the audit report will say that there were 35. Most of those people didn't look like you and I. And so 3 weeks ago, save for one, we terminated all the executives at BTC.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. Save one. BTC today is being managed as an executive team managed by Bahamians.
All Bahamians. This is interesting.
All Bahamians. Okay. These are the same Bahamians, younger Bahamians, who people said that we needed to privatize.
And they couldn't do it.
Said that, for example, for me, what they said on your shows, said I was a wannabe telecommunications. I was no expert, but Bahamians.
But you have been the expert in the entire region.
And so when you look at the table, it is representative of the indigenous population. These people got their master's degrees, they got their
this is a major accomplishment.
They got their MBAs, they got their bachelor's degree, and I would put them up against any executive in the Caribbean.
Wow. So see, this is a good example of somebody believing that Bahamians can do it. Leon Williams believed in it, and he made it happen. Top brass executive, fully Bahamian except one expat who is perhaps still here for a time. But you've been able to turn around the company, get it going with Bahamian experts who know what they're doing and are the envy of the region. A lot of people miss that. They probably think that's just good PR talk. But this is serious stuff what has happened.
Let me tell you, Steve, you know, since we paraded down the streets 2011, Cable and Wireless would have bought BTC. So Cable and Wireless is now owned by Liberty Global.
Okay.
The top guy. Now, the CTIO came and spoke to BTC executives 3-4 weeks ago. And you know what he said? BTC, Bahamas, is the only country who could move the needle. Cable and Wireless. Now, did that make me feel proud? I want her to jump up and say, hallelujah.
Of course. I mean, this is how
we
it
are
happens.
the only country in the 14 countries that could move the needle.
Yeah.
And so here
you're a money maker. You're getting things done.
We are innovative. We are doing things for first in the region to do Learwave. We are first. I can't tell you the amount of first. So we now put Flow TV. Segue back to your first question. We now put 29 channels, including some radio stations that you could watch on your phone free of charge. So this will be the first. And I said to the IAAF today, this will be the first time that Bahamians will be able to watch the IAAF relays and the Carifta on their phones, whether they're in Inagua in the north or they in Abaco in the
wonderful accomplishment
in the south, or Abaco in the north. Watching, we have the highest penetration of people watching on their mobile phones in the Caribbean, right here inside the Bahamas.
Right now,
and it's all for free. So when people were saying, we got to watch Law and Order on the beach, my position is you could watch anything. You could watch ABC, you could watch NBC, whatever it is that you want to. You can listen to Steve McCain on your show, and so we're going to ingest the rest of the company. But when the rallies start to go on ZNS, people watching Parliament, the Parliamentary channel, it's all on their TV. So
right on your mobile.
And what amazed me when I was sitting here to hear people listening to you, Steve, up and down the length and breadth of the Bahamas.
That's correct.
5, 10, 15 years ago, that was impossible.
Couldn't happen. But now it's happening, and the technology is improving, and I'm thankful to BTC and those executives who are working every day to make it happen. That's a very important thing.
And let me say that the toughest thing about this job is that BTC cannot cherry pick by law. BTC has to provide telecommunication services.
That's right.
To any
no matter if
rock,
only got two people
that has 10 or more households. The other guy could cherry pick. I see the other guys looking at Freeport. They're not looking at Grand Bahama. They want to make their money in Freeport. Freeport look higher. And so when the truth be told, Steve, IRCA has mandated that we do national roaming. So if you go with my competitor's phone down to Inagua, and he does not have towers there, I am mandated by law.
All the infrastructure you have, now he has to.
You understand? So there's some things, and I've said this over and over to people. We built BTC, and I got to give Prime Minister Christie kudos for this. With Bradley Roberts as minister, we went to him and made a proposal. Let's build a fiber optic submarine cable to hook up the islands. So we spent $80 million back in 2005 to build the submarine cable. If we had not built that submarine cable, no other private investor
couldn't even
would
try
have done
to
it.
get.
There would have been no way that you would have gotten a cable, fiber optic cable in Rum Key and in San Salvador.
It was a good investment.
Because there was no financial investment. But
there's no
it would have
return
been
on that.
impossible today for them to get television. 160 channels. It'd have been impossible today for them to get LTE phones. And so any new investor coming into the Bahamas is not going to make that kind of investment.
So
BTC has to make its money even with these owners' responsibilities and obligations that it has to, when others don't have to.
That's a serious thing. And people would say that's a major disadvantage. When I first got wind of all this stuff, and I was reading on the notes about the IRCA mandate to petition to you all that this got to be a mandate, you all have to do this has to happen. And then they're sharing towers and all that because they don't want to have the entire country littered with all these towers all over the place. I say, well, those guys ought to be given some credit, BTC, because they're doing all this stuff. They got to pay for it. They got to make it happen for the other people who come in to catch a ride, is how I put it. And at the end of the day, it's all their infrastructure that is being utilized because it's a mandate by the regulators. And I was like, boy, that's a serious thing. That's like telling me, Steve, you got to provide all this stuff for them. Then everybody come and plug in and get. And then they ask me, what you said? Hurry up, send the signal. And I'm like, you want me to slap your head off it? Because that's what it amounts to. That's exactly what is happening. And so here it is. People have come, they've caught a ride, and you still have to go under what your obligations are to IRCA, and you still have to still make your money, make your profit on the top of that. And you are opening the door for competition because this is what the mandate now is. In some cases, Leon Williams, I must tell you, I don't understand it. I really don't. As a businessman, I don't understand it, but I could respect what they're trying to do because they're trying to liberalize and bring a level of competitiveness that will perhaps drive prices down eventually within the sector. But, you know, for one institution, and this perhaps is bigger than you. You're the CEO of the companies representing and want to make the money and all that. But it's I suppose it's above your pay grade. But this is what the government of the Bahamas and all and sundry thought may be in the best interest to bring about the liberalization that we wanted to see. And people are saying, yeah, I want to be able to have different providers, man. If I ain't like them, I want to go to this one. That's the kind of thing. But how has it been? I mean, it's still new in the game with the liberalization of the mobile system, and we see now there's some competitors inside it, but BTC is holding its own, and even more. Talk to me about that.
We have to be. I challenge my staff every meeting that I have, every Monday morning, the EXCO meetings, and the whole idea is that, you know, I'm not worried about the competitor. I'm not worried about Leon Williams. You know, I got hired on a 1-year contract. The contract was never renewed. So it is what it is. Because to me, BTC is bigger than Leon Williams, number one. And the country is bigger than BTC. And every day I impress upon my staff that what we are working for is for the country called the Bahamas. The Bahamas has to have this technology so that it could compete in the financial services against Barbados, Cayman Islands, and Bermuda.
And also what you talked about earlier with all the air traffic and the rest of it, this is an important.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was presenting at the United Nations SID conference, and Cuba had just gotten up. And Cuba complaint was, listen, the Bahamas, Trinidad, and Jamaica gets 28% of all FID. So the foreign direct investments, FDIs, we get 28%. And I had to apologize to Cuba because in my slides, I was putting up all the monies that the heads of agreements had been signed by the government of the Bahamas, including places like Eleuthero, Exuma, $1.6 billion. The total for the Bahamas is $4.6 billion worth of signed heads of agreements for foreign direct investment. And so you got to
provide the service.
I have to provide, you know, and
reliable service.
The attitude was it would be bill it and they would come, or let's wait for them to come and then bill it, you know. And so it's this fight that I have with trying to get a return on the investment for my shareholder, Liberty, and for Cable and Wireless. And at the same time, my boss in his evaluation of me said I was too passionate about all things Bahamian, and my passion was misguided, you know, because I stood up to him when it came to things Bahamian. But I do the same thing when I put on my Canto hat and I go down to the Caribbean. 42 million people in the Caribbean we represent. Cable and Wireless, in digital. Nobody's going to come here to give, and a Bahamian thing that somebody's going to come here to give you free phone calls. Everybody wants stuff for free. That is, the guy is here not because he likes you. The guy is here because he can make a better return on his investment through the company than he can make by putting his money on a fixed deposit in the bank. It's all about the money, Steve. So don't think that, you know, these guys are coming here because they like you.
Don't be misguided by that.
Don't be misguided.
Don't be fooled by that. Don't be in Bahamian language. Don't be fooled by that. Don't let that fool you.
And so my position has always been: listen, you want me to downsize? Let's start. I finished with this with the Bahamians. We ain't touching the Bahamians no more. Not right now.
Yeah, downsize.
As long as we have got expats here,
right?
Let them go first. Let's downsize.
And you've been able to pull that off.
Yeah, I have been able to pull that off, but many of the Caribbean CEOs haven't been able to pull that. I've gone through so much in my life, you know, Steve. It reminds me about Martin Luther King when the rock got thrown. He got up and in church that night, and when they said to him, the rock came through his door, and there was a note tied to the rock, and the note said, "Martin, if you go out here tonight, we're gonna kill you." And his wife said to him, "Don't go." And he still went to church that night. And he said to the congregation what had happened. And he said, "But it doesn't matter with me now. I reached the stage, see, it doesn't matter." It's not about me, it's about the country.
Many people are depending upon you because you have been designated now a true Bahamian who, in fact, want to see good for the country. You've proven that. Your record speaks for itself. And talking about a record and talking about monies and talking about all those other things, it comes to this point where people are still debating this 2% that we were supposed to have gotten and all that, and the fact that now you are compensating or giving monies out, or making sure that things are sponsored, like the endowment at the University of Bahamas, the Carifta, the Junkanoo, all of these cultural things that have been happening. Talk to me about that, because this is something that seems to be missing on Bahamians by and large. They just talk about it in negative. He says, they say they can take it back, but did they get it back? We don't know, blah, blah, blah. This money that you are looking at that's been set aside, talk to me about that and put it in context as to what's happening right now with the sponsorship and endowment funds and the rest of it.
So when we talk about taking it back, I think what the Prime Minister in his campaign was saying that he was going to get majority ownership for BTC. So you've got Panama. There are three major companies in the cable and wireless and in the Liberty world that most companies like Liberty don't do too well with government partnerships. So you've got Panama. Panama has 49% owned by the government, 49% owned by cable and wireless, 2% in an ESOP. That's the unions own the 2%. But cable and wireless have the management control. In the case of Trinidad, Trinidad has 49% owned by cable and wireless, 51% owned by the government of Trinidad, but the government of Trinidad has management control.
Understood.
The way they wrote the agreement, the shareholders agreement, when cable and wireless bought back in 2011, was that the government had 49%, cable and wireless had 51% with management control. So what the 2% was supposed to do was to give the Bahamas government the majority ownership of 51%, 49% plus the 2% in the foundation, but cable and wireless would still have management control, which would be similar to the situation in Panama.
I see, in Panama, okay.
So BTC, when it declares its dividends, it pays 2% of that dividend into the foundation fund, and 49% goes to the government, and 49% goes to cable and wireless.
Right.
In addition to that, cable and wireless would get, according to the shareholders agreement, a 2% out of gross revenue. That's the management fee. Okay, so this has been my personal commitment. One, let's see how I could go ahead and Bahamianize the executive management team. So we got the majority.
You got your checklist now.
So now let's do. Number two, let's see how much of the money we can spend within country, right? Dividend out of country.
I got you. I see it. I feel what you're saying.
So we sponsor. So the way to do that, sponsorship.
Sponsorship.
So I go to the University of the Bahamas. We give them a innovation lab, 340. We do 10 scholarships, endowment of $1 million. We do Junkanoo, 850. We do Carnival. We do all the sports, $1 million. We do all the sports. We go to the schools. We build the basketball court, and we invest the money in country.
In the Bahamians.
In country.
At home.
And
it could have gone and taken flight someplace else.
It could have gone and taken flight.
But you say it is happening right here.
Right here.
And it's benefiting
the
Bahamians.
money in here. And until Bahamians, get to that level to see what we're doing and have some appreciation for it, as far as they're concerned, we're doing nothing. We're doing nothing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we played politics. When I say we, the collective we, have played politics with the ins and outs of what transpired in the governance of this whole deal with BTC and the players, cable and wireless and so forth. But when you really look at it, when you peel that skin back and you see what is actually happening, the proof is that Bahamians have benefited and continue to benefit because the monies that could have taken flight and dividends going out is in that particular fund, that foundation, and that's being spent right here on Bahamians, and it's been done through tangible things like sports and culture, like education with the University of the Bahamas and so forth. And so that's commendable.
It's water in the waters of a duck's back, or missing water that's gone. But the truth of the matter is that we got to recognize what happened in 2011, Steve, when you were there down Bay Street.
Yeah, when I went down there.
I mean,
and I
people
lost my
don't
job.
people don't like to hear it, but the fact of the matter, we were told that BTC was sold for $210 million. We also were told that $7 million stamp tax. Cable and Wireless in its 2012 report, the penultimate paragraph on page 106 says for a net cash outflow of $148 million. We spent over $50 million trying to privatize, so the net to the Bahamian people was $98 million. Unfortunately, Steve, we also, in the shareholders agreement, agreed to pay the pension deficit. The last actuarials of the pension deficit, 2015 March, states that the pension deficit is $98 million, which means that the net cash received by the Bahamian people is zero. And every time we send somebody out the door, the Bahamian people pay for it.
Serious thing.
Not Cable and Wireless. It adds to the P&L of the government because the government has responsibility for the deficit.
So this money has been spent good, you believe. We have benefited. The story has not yet been told on it. Not enough has been said. I mean, we see the press releases, like the press release here that you put out today with the $400,000 and the kind of monies that you all have done for the games, but we don't see. We don't really. It doesn't become crystal clear to us because no one is really talking about it. It's almost like a story that used to be and is now off the page. Nobody is really talking about it. But that's why I asked you that question, though. Just how this thing has come full circle and how it's now benefiting the Bahamian because of what innovative ideas you brought to the table, and your team was able to sit down and say, "This is how we're going to get this thing done." And it's now being done.
I can tell you when we wanted to first invest in I was on the board. I was not even CEO. So you know, Bradley Roberts and Rowena Beth was on the board. It was like a fight, you know, to get those guys. Because remember, those guys just came in and visited, and, you know, pick up dividends, and they left. And you know, it was a fight trying to get a commitment to make the investments. And so one of the things I pledged, when I got there, you know, hey, come hell or high water, this is the way you're gonna. Because if you don't want me to operate in that manner, then you need to find yourself another CEO. Because I'm not a token CEO. You know, and you cut my veins, it's gonna bleed Bahamian. You know,
that's just the way it is.
That's the way. So you're gonna have to accept the things that I put forth. Give me the numbers. Set my objectives, set my targets, tell me what it is that I got to make and what I got to do. And once I do that, I don't want you to tell me how to do it. When I'm running and I hear people talk about, you know, giving me advice on how to run. Listen, I say to guys often, when you run a company with a payroll and you got to make payroll of 42 million, you could talk to me.
Yeah. Until then.
Until then, 6 months.
But I agree.
$42 million is payroll.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree. I agree.
For 600 Bahamians.
That's real money. And we're talking real money consistently.
Consistently.
Yeah.
You know, so when you're running that kind of payroll, that ain't light bill and water bill, you know, IRCA, government fees for BTC is $21 million.
My Lord, right off the top.
You know, I write a check for IRCA this week for 4-point-something million. Next month, I got to write a check for 9-point-something million.
Wow. Let me ask you.
So we're going to talk to me, you know?
Yeah. Queue up and be the talk.
Come strong.
But all of this that's happening, has it impacted the fact that there's competition on the mobile front? We know that there's a new company that's doing some stuff and all that, and making claims that I perhaps shouldn't question anybody's claims because you know I don't like to spoil a good person's story. But I saw some things that made me say, wait a second, could this be right within a couple of weeks, 8 weeks? You're talking, wait a second, you know, that's what I said to myself. But anyway, the bottom line is
you like me. A reporter asked me for an interview today and says, are these numbers? I said, that's the end number. So if that's the end numbers, it's a sacred cow. I have no comment.
But listen, with all that happening, has BTC, and I guess it's a silly question, but I think people want to hear it. Has BTC been impacted by this new layout of the rollout of these new people? I know I don't believe they have been, but you would know better than I do whether or not there's been an impact, whether or not there's been a kind of flux in the market, whether or not there's been a kind of that kind of buzz that hey, got to watch, you got to do some other things differently. Has any of that really happened?
Yeah,
really?
It's a challenge, and for people that are managers, a manager must have the ability to be able to see down the road. Steve, a leader has to have the ability to see down the road and around the corner. Major difference. A manager will run an army in peacetime very well, because when he goes out on the practice field, the bullets and he can line up
rubber bullets.
Rubber bullets.
They're not real.
But a leader is what you need in the time of war. The leader, because the battlefield changes every morning. And so I encourage my people, listen, you've got 5 qualifications to work for me. 1, you got to be able to think outside the box. Number 2, you have got to be able to execute at the speed of thought. Number 3, you've got a choice of either walking on the broadside or walking on the edge. If you're not walking on the edge, you're taking up too much space. And number 5, you really, really, really got to be able to be disruptive. So I've got some young people on the team, innovative, creative behemoths and stuff that just, I expect them to be able to think out the box. Never ever get scared. In leadership, you can't get scared. You can't show. So my title that says CEO is not Chief Executive Officer, it's Chief Enthusiasm Officer. I don't have bad days. I don't have down days. My focus is the future. So we will lose. We've got 100% share in market share in mobile. We will lose some mobile shares, but then we're being creative and going into other avenues. We are beta testing right now as we speak. We've been beta testing for almost a year. Prepaid electricity and Spanish Wells. We didn't need to do that. You could top up with your phone. You could, if you run, you never get disconnected from BEC again. You run down and buy minutes the same way you buy minutes, you buy watts and you use it on your phone and top up, So we've gone that. In fact, we got an award. I got an award last year. I got it CEO of the Year for the Bahamas in Innovation and CEO of the Caribbean for the Year in Innovation. BTC is up for getting Company of the Year. So we're doing that. Secondly, we brought in IPTV. And so we're doing fiber to the home in Nassau. Already spent $26 million. We're spending $7.6 million in Grand Bahama starting next month to put some fiber in. So we're creating new revenue streams. Once we get the fiber into the home and start giving people 100 megabits of speed to their houses and stuff like that, the same way we're doing 50 megabits on your phones and stuff. The Bahamas itself, people look at Bahamas and says, listen, they're doing it in New York. And when we go to the Bahamas, we don't see any difference.
That's right.
That's
what you want to get.
They got 100 megabits in London. They come to the Bahamas. We give them 100 megabits. It's all about the country, Steve. It's not about BTC and about it. It is what we're going to do to better and make the Bahamas competitive so they could create jobs and foreign direct investments could come.
Fantastic.
And that's how I look at it. The real estate of my brain is literally too expensive to rent it out to jokers. I raised the rent and kicked them out.
I like that. Let me just check this phone line. How you doing?
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, Mr. McKinney. How you doing?
Very good, thanks.
How you doing, Chief?
Oh, hi, Sparky. You're good.
Don't tell Steve why I be laughing. But you know something, Chief? Little while ago, you just called somebody to call me and say, Sparky, you wasn't lying. I said, why? You said, the other day you tell me you was, they'd asked you, that last year from Mr. Williams. I say, but I just heard from a little while ago. They say, but it's too late for you to hear from him. I said, I can tell you where he is. They say, no, you can't. I say, he's in Panama.
Yeah, I was in Panama last week or last week.
You're in Panama, right?
Yeah.
When you told Steve that you was in Panama, the person called me a little while ago. Said, Sparky, he wasn't lying. He was in Panama. I said, I told you he was in Panama. Now, Chief,
yeah.
You're not even running. You down. I can't catch you because you're flying more than the plane. You was a pilot, eh?
Trying to save 600.
Your own private jet?
Trying to save the jobs of 600 Bahamians, Sparky.
But you never in town.
That's true. The company headquarters is not in town. They own BTC.
But you're doing all them things in sports and all them things. I love what you're doing with all the jungle and carnival and sports and everything. But you remember me and you still gotta have that little talk about the children thing, you know.
Yeah. About your box card and kite and stuff like that?
Man, my chief, I've been begging you, man, but I don't want nobody to thief my idea. You promised me you can help me do the thing for the children on the Western Fort with the box card, the kites and gadgets.
Okay. I'm working on it. I'm working on it, Sparky.
Box cards and the marbles and everything.
Yeah, working on it, Sparky.
Not only for the children of the nation, man, not only the Bahamas, not only Nassau, the children of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We want all of them to be on the Fort Charlotte when we do the thing for the box, kites, and gadgets.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, Sparky.
Thank you, good Chief. Be well out there.
Okay.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Ah, boy, I tell you, listen, and there's so much demand, right? Because the more you do and the more that you give in these various sports and culture and all these fun and games and all that, you get a whole, I suppose, dray load of mail and appeals and stuff like that. Because that's people see something good that's happening and they want to cash in on it because a lot of people need help.
Yeah, a lot of people.
What Sparky is talking about is a very, very good idea. Because we've got to bring back those kinds of things too, and that's Bahamian. That's being a part of the Bahamian culture. So I'm hoping that eventually you'll be able to see.
We're doing like in Baintown. We are making that park a smart park, putting in Wi-Fi for the people who could go to the park, get it free. We're doing it in Fox Hill. We've already done it in Fox Hill, and then we just haven't published it as yet. Find the right time to launch it. And so we're trying to make the country smart. We're trying to make the country smart. So wherever you are, you will always be connected. You know, so we were trying to be creative, Stephen, innovative.
Understood. Understood. Well, that's impressive. And of course, you were telling me earlier. Well, you weren't, but I got information about the many persons who were promoted and being a part of a real innovative team. The top executive team members of BTC.
So we've got Janet Brown as our CMO. We've got Helene Ferguson, Senior Vice President of Human Resources. Eldridge Ferguson, I just sent out a couple of months ago down to Grand Bahama. Eldridge is now in charge of the Northern Bahamas, which includes Abaco, Grand Bahama, and Bimini. Talbot Cully is in charge of the Family Islands. Naaman Ellis is now in charge of engineering.
All the
Alphinique Duncombe, young lady, is in charge of mobile.
That's right.
All Bahamians.
And then Anastasia
just got promoted to become deputy CFO, vice president of finance. Alban is our youngest CIO that we've had at the company. And, you know, the list just goes on. Bahamians that are sitting at the exec. The CTIO for Liberty came and mentioned to me the other day when he was here, he said, Mr. Williams said, you know, I looked at the table. You've got more women sitting at the table than men. So, Steve, you're being outnumbered.
Yeah. Well, that's
all I need.
Well, that's our story.
It's not about gender. It's about people who could execute.
Yeah.
You know, Steve, you've been given this opportunity to prove that Bahamians could run a telecommunications company in a competitive environment. We can't afford to mess it up. Otherwise, in that we'll squander an opportunity for the next generation of Bahamians.
Yeah.
These guys who have appointed, the girls and guys who have appointed, cannot afford to fail, Steve. Because as someone had said to me, and I should be able to say this, but I was on my way to Trinidad when I was offered this job. And I turned it down to come to BTC. Cable and Wireless. So let me set the record straight. Cable and Wireless has the right, according to the shareholders agreement, to pick the CEO, the CFO, the CTIO, the COO. Those positions are in the purview of Cable and Wireless. So when people say to me, Christie give you that job, I was on my way to Trinidad. And then Prime Minister Christie did say to me, Leon, take the job. Because if you don't take the job, they will not give it to another Bahamian. That's when they fired Jeff Houston after that major failure that they had.
That's a serious thing.
Yeah. And as soon as I got I was on my way to Trinidad. My stuff was in storage on Blake Road. And then as soon as I got the job, 2 months later, Digicel offered me CEO. And so I sent
you could have been anywhere.
I sent it in to Phil Bentley, and he said to me, I can't afford to give any more additional money at this point in time because the remuneration committee has met. I will make you senior vice president in Cable and Wireless. So I am CEO of BTC and senior vice president Cable and Wireless. Steve and I went to Barcelona 2 years in a row. And when I went to the first board meeting of Cable and Wireless and Columbus, I was the only Caribbean national at those functions. I hate to say it like this, but I was the only person of color reporting to the CEO of Cable and Wireless back in 2015, 16.
Big position.
But I am, someone got on national television said that I was a wannabe. That's why I tell you, you can't afford to let people rent space in your head.
Now they eat those words. A wannabe. And now you are a man who you does things.
You does. You remember that show that I came on?
Yeah.
At Gems, you were at Gems?
Yeah.
I showed you the letter.
I remember that.
Termination and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. A wannabe.
Yeah.
Imagine.
You cried. I tell people often.
Yeah,
you cried on that show.
I couldn't believe it.
You took time out and you prayed for me on national radio.
Yeah, that's a fact. Because, see, I'm the kind of person who's like, I believe Bahamians should be able to run these things because we can do it. I preached that all last week when I was talking about this BTC thing, using you all as a sterling example of what could happen, what could be. You got to have people who really believe that.
Yeah.
And I always believe that. That's what I've been fighting for all of these many years of 20 years or so doing these talk radio shows, saying that we want a country, that we have to build a country. If not you, then who?
Yeah.
I mean that.
Yeah.
That is not just some sweet thing that I say because it sounds good. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? Yeah. See, and if we don't start doing this, we could forget it. My generation almost at the point now where we could forget things because the truth is no one really invested in this particular generation. But the next generation, the ones that behind us, we got to make sure that they get these positions. That's why when I saw all of Alphanique and Anastasia,
these young people,
these little children, I said these children, they ain't even 27. They running the show.
They coming to your show next week. They coming on to your show next week.
It's unbelievable.
So that people could know and see them on TV and on
this
your show.
This is important.
Yeah,
this is important. And it's a motivating thing. It's inspirational. It makes me feel as if all is not lost, despite the politics, despite all can be lost. We've got people actually doing the thing in real time.
That's what frustrates me. You can't emasculate the Bahamian young man. You can't emasculate that when you were talking at the top of your show and expect us to succeed.
Yeah.
If our own countrymen are putting us down, then what do you expect?
This is true.
Our self-esteem, our self-worth, the generation, we just lose the whole generation.
Yeah, can't marginalize people.
So we've got to build bridges and we've got to be able to demonstrate to people that if an Alphanique could do it, if an Anastasia could do it, anybody else could do it.
Top management. They're not just seeing it. They are top executives, man. They running the show. The Caribbean people look at them and say, how you do this?
Yeah.
They are, and they are little. Anyhow, Hard Copy, how are you?
How you doing? Peace and love.
Yes, peace and love. What's up?
Yes. Is it cheaper for the parent company to operate the head office there it is? Because obviously it's not in the Bahamas, and the gentleman just said we own. You see, this is the party politics and the nonsense. The Indian people are fed up with in this country. Please, there's so much Amos could say. You know what? I'd rather just don't talk.
I hear you. All right, I understand that. Hard Copy, how are you?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. I'm just calling about our area, Ridgeland Park East. We can't get any decent phone contact. If the phones are going off, and my phone personally, it doesn't ring. And I've called BTC, that 225 number, and I don't get any results. It's just about a month ago.
Which area this is?
Let her hold on and could you have it?
Yeah,
someone like that and take her number.
Yeah, okay.
Off here.
Yeah, let me just let you. Who's that? Stefka? All right, Stefka, take that phone that's blinking there. Take that call. And
I wouldn't want her personal information on here.
Yeah. She's going to have to leave some information.
Yeah.
And
name, number,
that kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. All right. And so you can take that, and then we'll pass it on to Mr. Williams. Hard copy. How are you?
Hey, Steve. Good evening, man. How you doing?
Good.
Good evening to you, guest, Mr. Williams.
Hi. How you doing?
Well, Steve, you
Yes,
have,
sir.
you have the best CEO, the best man, the best dressed CEO, the best.
Yeah, he is all that and more. He's the best dressed CEO, debonair and all that. He's high fashion. He reads everything, even food store receipts, so he knows everything. You know, so
Talking about Mr. Williams, Leon Williams.
I know that's who you're talking about, Leon.
He is the man. Yeah, he is the man. Trust me. And he knows who's he know when he push back to the wall, he can't hit the wall because I got his back.
I love that. Love it.
And he knows that because I sleep in the back.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
knows that.
Okay.
But I just think, Mr. Williams, man, look here, be encouraged, man. And you know I got you 100%. So continue to keep us afloat. Don't mind with those other guys.
No.
We will deliver. The Bahamian people love us because we do things for
We
the
depend
Bahamas.
on you.
We do things for our country. We I mean, our monies. We know Bahamians do our work, and we know. Like Bahamas, they say we don't just fly here. We live here.
He lives here.
You know, we
No
know
question.
we've been here, and we will continue to. And we put our monies back in the country. I mean, check the Carifta, check the IWF, Carnival, all that stuff. We the Bahamian people do. Okay, and so I got you. I support you as my CEO.
Thank you, Cliff. Let me say this
appreciate
because a lot of
thank you, sir. Okay,
a lot of this stuff go unannounced. You know, this young man is a tower rigger. Built towers.
Okay,
we've probably got about 250, 260 towers in the Bahamas. He's probably worked on all of them.
Wow,
you know, built towers. So
he's way up in the air.
Man. But not only that, Steve. Clement Rowe is a director on NATE, the National Association of Tower Erectors in the United States. He is a director on the board. And there are people in BTC who don't know the status of his position.
Is that right?
I'm telling you.
And people say he's a tower
when
rigger,
these
but
experts in the United States got a difficult job to do, they call Clement Axler.
You mean Clement Rowe, who I know?
The Clement Rowe that you know. He is on the board of directors of NATE, the National Association of Tower Erectors for the United States.
Brand Law. I know that fella. Hey, Clement, and I know you. I like to know good people like that.
And this is why I tell folks over and over, man, I would go to war with my Bahamian staff. I'll go to war any day. Put them up against it. I've been in charge as elected twice as the chairman of Canto. Canto has 133 members. That's telephone companies in 33 countries on 4 continents. So nobody can tell me about Barbados and Jamaica. Yeah, I know it all. We host conferences twice a year. And I've sat on the lectern and had to speak with prime ministers who are keynote speakers or ministers of ICT. And
I saw you in action at Atlantis.
When I say you saw me and right. So when I say I could put BTC up against BTC Bahamian staff up against anybody,
Well, you've done it. See, but you all nobody tell that to anyone yet. See, people don't realize what I'm saying here. You have actually done it. Instead of the other people staying and our people losing, our people are in, they're here, they are in the top executive management, and they can do the job without question. And the others who were here on borrowed time, they have gone. You know why? Because somebody believed in these. What if we didn't have anyone to stand up for the Bahamians down there? You see, that's what it comes down to. So in a big way, I commend you.
You think Liberty and Cable and Wireless would have allowed me to put people in positions if they thought that they were going to fail and cause the company to lose money?
No.
They had to have some faith that I made my case sufficiently strong enough that I could last week fly in from Eleuthera at 1 o'clock, call a meeting with the executives, issue them letters, and terminate 6 expat executives and consultants within 30 minutes and went back on a flight to Eleuthera.
Say again, you mean you rolled into town?
I rolled into town,
did your thing
on Friday. I was supposed to be speaking at a town meeting on Thursday.
Mhm.
I did speak on Thursday. Friday with we were working with the ministry, the Attorney General's office to get births and deaths registered.
Mhm.
Flew in got here at 1:00, did my thing at 1:30, went back to the airport to catch a 3:00 flight back to Eleuthera.
There was no pressure on you to do that?
And 6 people were history.
And was no pressure?
No, you got to do what you got to do.
There you go.
You know, I mean, I'm working in the interest of Bahamians.
Yeah.
You know.
Understood. Hard copy. Hard copy, how you doing?
Good evening, gentlemen. How you all doing this afternoon?
Yes, sir.
Mr. McKinney.
Yes, sir.
Pleasure. Good afternoon to you. Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Williams, I bought a phone from you all in 2016, November of 2016 from Market Street branch. And the phone got damaged, right? But I went back to Market Street. And I asked the lady if they could just sort out the 2 buttons because I was still under warranty until March of 2017. But the lady told me she can't do nothing about that. But I said to her, I'm still under warranty. I didn't want a new phone. I just wanted the 2 buttons down below to get sorted out. That was the J2.
They were jamming, the 2 buttons.
Yes, sir.
I see. Okay. So you didn't get it done, right?
I didn't get it done.
Well, listen.
Hold on.
Let me put you on hold so you can get
the information
okay?
sorted.
All right. Okay.
But let me
let me just tell Stefka to pick up that call
Okay,
and get the
yes.
gentleman's name and all that
Yeah.
and his information so that we can get it sorted out.
Let me say this: phones are consumer items, very consumerized. There is nobody that fixes phones. The people who fix phones will charge you more than the phone costs.
I understand.
It's almost a disposable item.
Yeah, just use it, throw it away, get a new one.
You know that every year, come around Easter, Samsung is going to come out with a new phone.
Yes.
So we expect the Samsung
in a minute
Galaxy 8 to be out
in a minute.
We are beta testing it right now on our network to make sure it's working. You know that come November for Christmas, Apple is going to come out with a new phone.
Yes, sir.
It's designed year and a half. There's nobody out there ordering parts to
fix phones now. That's gone. Yeah.
This is not a car.
It's almost like, these things are, you could just throw them away after a while, disposable.
And I don't mean this in a bad way. I'm just giving some clarity. We treat all the stores the same. In fact, we give preference to the franchise stores, but except for 2 stores in Nassau, all the other stores are franchised for us. They're privately owned, but they fly the BTC flag.
I see.
So the Marathon Mall and Southwest Plaza are BTC stores. The others are private. But the way we operate is we make sure that for them to do business, we give them first preference. First preference on the instruments and so we would stock out in our stores to make sure that because they need to make money, our franchise stores.
Right.
But I just wanted to put that out there that those stores are all privately owned.
So in a case like that, a person in a case like that perhaps will somehow
I'd go to the
end up with
I would end up with at the Marathon. I'll end up dealing with them at the Marathon Mall. But in a case like that, there are no spots. If the minute you open the phone, the warranty is gone. Number one, factory warranty is gone. And number 2, if you open the phone, I mean,
because it could drop and all kind of things could happen.
Parts, nobody stock parts. I mean, not us, nor anybody else in the United States or any part of the world.
Understood.
No.
Okay. So there's supposed to be this BTC set to unveil this Limitless.
We're coming up with Limitless, and we talk a little bit more. The girls are coming to you next.
So we'll be able to get
next week. They come out with we're coming up with new plans. It's called Limitless. The whole shebang, which will add to we've done a number of things over the last couple of months, Steve. And without competition, this just takes the revenues down as well. It makes it challenging for us. If I continue, you can't afford to take the revenues to the point where it goes to the toilet and you can't afford 600 employees. So it's all about having to be able to make money to reinvest because nobody's going to come here with a bag load of money Our next challenge, Steve, is to move this network from a 4G network to a 5G network.
Okay.
5G has already been beta testing. The FCC is looking at it. AT&T is already beta testing this for its business customers. As you know, the Asians are always ahead of the Europeans, and the Europeans are ahead of the Americans when it comes to the ICT. So the Korean games will be on a 5G network, 2018 games. So BTC has all this equipment that we've got, that we've made this big investment in. It's going to be history in a short. You have to have deep pockets, Steve, to do this business.
That's a word to the wise. That's a hit. That's a hit.
Deep pockets.
That's a hit.
So when Bahamians want to do this, you got to have deep pockets.
I understand. I understand. Yeah. Well, listen, let me thank you very much for coming by today and sharing with us. And certainly next week, we hope that you'd pop back as well, because there's a lot of things that we've got to talk about. And I want to make sure that we are on the cutting edge of this technology. And there's only one place I can think of that I can go and get the CEO, and he can sit with me in my humble studio and tell me this the deal, this the deal, this the deal. And I say, if he said it, it is gospel. And that's why I try to get Leon Williams. I appreciate it very much for you coming by
thanks
today.
Thanks for your friendship. Thanks for the invitation. Thanks for all your support. See, we've been down in the trenches together.
You know, question about it.
Down Bay Street in the hot sun.
And it's been lonely.
It has been lonely.
That's why I tell you, now that you're in your kingdom, I say, hey, way to go. Do well. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Leon Williams with us today here on Hard Copy. And of course, we've been talking some of the BTC stuff. You heard the first part of the show today, but it's an eye-opener for all of those who are in the politics to get their heads on right and do things that are interesting in the people's interest, because we celebrate stuff like that when Bahamians do well. And there's some Bahamians who've been doing well thanks to the focus and the foresight of a man by the name of Leon Williams, who did some things. You heard him talk about it. They did some things and they actually worked out, and that's a good thing. Anyway, let's go home, big brother. Kieron, is that cool? Thaddeus Bain. Kieron Thaddeus Bain flying the jet today, and of course we thank him so much. And he's also under the supervision of Stephen Arthur McKinney Jr. Esquire. That's how it is. Beauty Shack. Our sponsors today, the Big Ten sale on the weekend, the Magic of Motown, Nevada Beach on the 24th, Life at the Hills, Bahamas Public Parks and Beaches Authority, Mount Tabor's Inspiration, Ministry of Tourism, Echo Water, Hadji's, your everything store, Commonwealth Bank, your new debit card people, Rocky Farms Nursery, Cool Tech, Bahamian Durian Beverages, Clean Insurance for comprehensive coverage, Super Wash open 24/7. Bank of the Bahamas, the Bank of Solutions, Super Value, Advantage Insurers, Ron's Electric Motors, Executive Printers, the McKinney Media Group for the best results in advertisement, and Bahamas Foot and Ankle on Blake Road. Tomorrow we come back to the show at 5 o'clock. You know it's 5 o'clock. It's Hard Copy. It's always good and hot stuff that we will have for you. Tomorrow we expect to have a couple of politicians from the PLP side. We'll see how it goes. And we expect them tomorrow, and that's a hint, because some people are supposed to call me and get in contact with me right away to make sure it is on, but we have it scheduled, and that's tomorrow. You'll hear from the governing side for a change. You've been hearing a lot of opposition side. Is there any offense in the PLP? We'll see if there's just plain offense or they're playing only defense. Tomorrow then at 5, right here on Hard Copy. Good night. See you tomorrow, God willing.
This is Peace Radio.